Welcome, welcome. Starting dead on time. This is the Cabal Policy Forum. Now, a bit more of a serious kind of topic of stream today. Shitposting's not off the table, but the focus is to sort out what the right thing to do is for Cabal. This is a community stream. I'm doing this so that there's a record of the event. Recently, to clue you all in, there was some disagreement, shall we say, over a matter that we should maybe make policy on. Maybe. So, there's a drinking game as well. I'm about to trigger it. A user by the name of Falcoshin in Cabal is blocked by many people because many people find him to be very annoying. He used Zane's meme bot to get around a block, to send a message to someone called Sock, who had him blocked. Sock was not happy about this. Regardless what he did next, which we can discuss in a minute, the matter we're discussing today is that okay, what Falco did? Should there be a rule against that? Should we enforce existing rules against that? Should we make new policy for that? What are the pros and cons? Should there be something else they do instead, other than that? And what I think that the issue, like most people were discussing this, the issue largely, the first issue has been that people underestimate how complex this issue is. And so I wanted to do this stream to at least inform people of why I think this is a much more complex issue than people are giving it credit for. Now, the way that Sock initially responded to Falco doing this and getting around the block was to threaten Cabal, essentially. Yeah, we've got Diane Motch here today. Hello, yeah. Diane Motch. So Sock's actions don't make any difference to what the determination on the policy will be. But I do want to explain to people what happened with Sock, because some people, I think I acted too harshly. What Sock did is he went from 0 to threats. He straight away came into the help desk channel, which has become the drama channel lately, and started essentially threatening Cabal. He said that he would report Cabal because of the TOS violation of us not, of allowing him to bypass the block, and that he didn't care if Cabal got taken down by doing so. Now, that's never a good way to open a conversation, threatening the person that you're asking nicely to have something from. But the reason that I am personed him is the sedition against Cabal, for one thing, but also, more pragmatically, separating him from Falco completely solved his problem. If he was in Room 101, that wasn't a problem anymore. You may be thinking, why didn't Falco get sent to Room 101? Well, he hadn't broken a rule. Maybe he should have, in terms of maybe there should be a policy against what he did, but there wasn't yet. I will clear up a misconception, something that Doc Chock said before the stream. The unblockable persecution rule that we have, has nothing to do with block circumvention. I understand it kind of sounds like it, and maybe that's misleading, and so maybe I will change the wording. And in fact, I am, as I've said, working on a new policy setup. What happened there is the unblockable persecution thing is for things that in principle can't be blocked, like impersonation and harassment. Sorry, not harassment, defamation. Harassment's irrelevant, ignore that. Defamation and impersonation are in principle unblockable persecution. They don't require the target to be involved or to be aware of what's happening. That's why those are restricted. But even then, I am considering removing that category of rules altogether. So unblockable persecution does not refer to circumventing a block. It refers to things that are in principle unblockable. Doc says, his main one's Zane's bot. Is Zane a mod? Is there a rule against blocking a mod bot? You can block Zane's bot, absolutely fine. And that has been made very clear to everyone that's mentioned it. That is part of the proposed solution, in fact. So this is where we get to the actual discussion of the policy. So I want to make my position clear and explain to you why this is such a complex issue. People expected that we would just, possibly because of what Discord's TOS said, and possibly because they thought it was the right thing to do, that we would just punish Falco for getting around the block, for circumventing the block by using Zane's meme bot to send a message, a screenshot of a message that he had that was addressed to not a sock. People thought, why don't you just do something about this? Well, one, there was no policy against it. We'd have to make policy. Two, it was being demanded immediately. So we'd have to make policy on the spot. And 3, after making policy, we'd have to enforce it retroactively, which is also wrong. So there's 3 layers of why that's wrong, but that doesn't even get to why this is so complex in the first place. Those are just the reasons that we didn't do anything straight away, and I'm not going to do anything about the block circumvention he's already done, because that would be retroactive. Incidentally, the reason Sock left was completely of his own volition, and he's not banned either. He left because I Room 101'd him and he was outraged. He wouldn't just stop making threats and give us the time to make policy. He basically set an ultimatum. Either you enforce this policy that does not exist retroactively, that you're going to write on the spot without any consideration, or I leave the server. That was his ultimatum. And of course, that wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to just capitulate to that. So he left the server.
I do think, though, he did get a bit crazy just because, as well, when he was put in Room 101, he took that as him solely being punished. And I understand your reasons of like separating him from Falco, but putting him in Room 101 separates him from the whole server. He can't really interact or post anything, which is more of a punishment on him. And I feel like his threats after the fact was, in my eyes, is why he was put in there. Anyone saying they don't give a shit about the server or that they're actively causing issue trying to take it down, I don't think should be treated, quite well, honestly. But the actual issue he brought forward wasn't the punishment or why he was punished.
So actually putting him in Room 101 may not have been the best way for me to handle it, but it was intended very much to be temporary. I saw the solution exploding out of control in Help Desk and only getting worse because Falco was continuing to antagonize him in Help Desk. And I was on my phone at the time. I was actually in bed, I think. I either just woken up or I was just about to fall asleep. So I just wanted to, find a way to stop the explosion, to slow things down a bit. And Sock was the one threatening Cabal, so he was the one I separated from Falco. Being put in 1-1-1 is not necessarily itself a punishment. It was just a temporary separation so that I could talk to him without the necessity of the aggression or the threats or anything, but he took it very, very poorly. I do think that's on him, the way he took it, though I, again, could possibly have handled it better. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, that die. So aside from those 3 problems of basic principles, which is make policy on the spot, enforce it retroactively, and the third thing, I can't remember what it was. Aside from those 3 things, the policy itself is a lot more complex than you might give it credit for. Think of it this way. Person A wants to message person B, but person A has blocked person B. So person A talks to person C to send a message to person B, and person C sends that message. Okay. Has a rule break just occurred? What do we do about that?
Most of the time, if that were to happen, right, people would just block the other person. And if you have a system working correctly, the block should be enough. And like you've kind of done your part on removing yourself from the issue or away from the person. And I think everyone deserves to have that right. If you don't want to talk to someone or whatever, you can just block them. I think you should be allowed to do that. The problem is he used the bot that is in the server, which would require him to also
hold on. We're getting to that. For this bit, can you let me explain what I'm trying to say, and then you're welcome to comment after. I want to get through the I want to introduce very clearly and concisely what I think the problem is.
Okay, gotcha.
So to make sure I have clarified, person A has blocked person. Sorry. How would I did it before? Yeah, okay. So person A has blocked person B, so that person A does not have to see anything person B says. So person B, I got it wrong before. Person B talks to person C to send a message to person A. So they're using another person to get around the block. The problem with trying to enforce against that, and we'll get to how that's different from the current situation in a minute. The problem with trying to enforce against that is that we don't know who has who blocked. And some people may believe that we can just get that with a bot or something, or that we somehow know who has who blocked. No, you can tell if you're blocked by someone, but we, the server, don't know who has who blocked. So we would have to go on trust that someone has someone else blocked. And even then, even if we assume that we can trust the person, what we end up doing there is the server enforces each individual person's blacklist. And we can't hide someone's messages just for someone else. Nor do I wish to punish someone for sending a message which is not against the rules merely because someone else didn't want to see it. No matter what their reason is, they didn't want to see it. Specifically, that individual person didn't want to see it. If you try to extend the policies of blocking to the server level, it all goes to shit immediately. We just don't have the tools to personalize it, but it is an inherently personal thing. Should people be able to block and personalize their experience and filter the content they see and access? Yes, fine, absolutely, go ahead and do that. Should the server be responsible for upholding that blacklist? Very questionable. I'm not sure about that. Should the community or the limited environment where people can talk be responsible for upholding that blacklist? Don't think so. Now, the 3-person metaphor I gave, it doesn't necessarily apply because person C in this case is a bot. Okay? Now imagine that it's a person, but that person is online almost all the time and will always, as a matter of principle, send a message around a block. Okay, now it's basically the same as the bot. Do we do anything about that still? As Dai said, person A, who has person B blocked, would probably in that case just block person C, which is completely possible in this case as well. But I don't want to block the bot. I like the memes. Okay, well, that's your choice. You get to choose whether or not you get to see the memes and also see the things you want to block, or neither. It's your choice.
That's not the choice that'll happen, though.
Well, yeah. You can choose, of course, to, as a free market operation, not engage with the bot, put pressure on the person who made the bot, all this stuff. And if it was my bot, if it was Uzabot doing this, that would be a bit different because that is more official server stuff. And I probably would add something in it to allow some sort of customization of this. But even then, I don't think I should have to. The fact is, in this case, it's Zane's own bot. It's not an institution of the server, except de facto. So you can block it, no problem. If people, there is an option to put certain people on a list that when they post in the bot, it's spoilered every single time. So people can always choose whether or not to see their message. That is an option. We could do that. But it requires work from Zane. And so it really does come down to you're asking the government to force a corporation to put in more work to enforce your personal blacklist because you refuse to give up an amenity that is completely optional. That is completely disrespectable. That's not reasonable at all. Now, that's the position I start at with this, and I'm very open to opinions, but that is why I think this is so complex. Because you are asking for a distortion on a free market when you can do something about it personally yourself. If you want Zane to put in that effort to customize his bot to do that, and to choose who gets blacklisted or not, that's up to him. You can ask him to do that. You can pressure him to do that, but that's ultimately up to him. Or you can make your own competing meme bot that does have that feature. That is the free market. I have said anyone who I trust fairly well in Cabal can add a bot to the server, obviously with limited permissions. But something like a meme bot, pretty much anyone could add that. You can make your own competing one if you like. But asking the server owner to enforce against a private enterprise to enforce your own personal block list, it's not reasonable. That's my starting position, and I'm going to scroll back and listen to all the things that you said in chat. Go ahead, Dai.
Well, why I think that's probably not going to work, because there is a third option, right? If you have a bot that somebody is using to circumvent a ban, all the person has to do, if the server owner won't do anything about it, is go and complain to Discord, and Discord will always side with somebody that is complaining to them about a block, right? Like if you're circumventing and going over something or using a bot in the server that is not meant, like already kind of distorting the rules already by adding a bot. I worry by not enforcing these kind of things, it just pushes Discord more and more to be like, oh, well, we're just not going to allow certain bots. And they've already done that with the music bot. They already removed a lot of the music bots in all servers and made them just impossible to use. And I feel like they will just continue to add on more the more things like this happen.
I doubt
also,
it.
like, I fully see them doing it if it actually becomes, if more and more problems like this happen.
They can't categorically enforce that, so they would have to know about the specific bot. Besides, Discord has not enforced that. YouTube has, as a licensing matter. They sent cease and desist to the bot maker rather than Discord doing it. So I don't think that's a concern.
I'm just saying somebody could easily go and complain to them about it, and I guarantee that will just bring eyes. And
it may bring eyes, but that's exactly what SOC was threatening to do.
Yeah, exactly. Which like didn't help the case either.
As far as I know, the Discord TOS does say that it's the server's responsibility. At least from my inference, I haven't actually read it because who fucking cares what the TOS says?
There's a lot. It's long.
From my inference of what SOC was saying, it's the server's responsibility to make sure that blocks are enforced. I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think a lot of things in the Discord TOS are reasonable, which is why we protect the free speech of our users from rules outside of our own. And I don't know if SOC realised that when he started threatening the TOS. I don't think so. But Usually the TOS, but every other server I've seen that's like this one, I checked Daddy's Dungeon and Aiden's server, they both say follow the TOS. Fuck that. With greatest respect to the people that run both those servers, that's not how we do things here. We run a set of rules that we think are correct, regardless what Discord thinks. Because that's how you operate in a culture war when you're a dissident.
Yeah, but another way I would see this as well is like if somebody is using a bot on your server and isn't willing to like add something that you need because people are circumventing it, it is still your responsibility because you could easily just not allow them to have that bot on the server if it's causing issue, which is just another thing of I know you would never do that because again you want an open kind of space for people to be able to compete and maybe make their own bot if there's issues. But I do think that there is a problem if people can't block people that are just causing massive amounts of issues or making the server worse for them to be in.
You can absolutely block people, and I have recommended that.
I don't think.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, I just want to make this point. I really don't think Falcushion should have the ability to be using bots if he's going to be using it that way. Well, and I think anyone that is going around that kind of way should, if they're going to actively say, I'm doing this because fuck you and your rules, I think you should just not have them be able to use a bot.
That's something that we could discuss. That's the whole thing, is that after today, we may decide to make policy that says if you try to circumvent blocks, then you will receive some minor punishment or some gradually escalating punishment. We may decide to do that, but there are definitely edges of that, and very much there are grey areas. So any policy made on that would have to be very carefully written, and we risk, in doing so, giving the moderators way more work to do as well. Although they don't have much, but you know, we risk giving them an entirely new category of things they have to adjudicate when that stuff can already be customized by each individual person. There's a few more things to add here, and I still want to just scroll back through chat and respond to everything I can find. So don't worry, chat. If you sent a message in the last few minutes, I do intend to get back and have a look at it. But there's another factor on this as well. Not a sock claimed to have, or people claimed that Notasoc had gone so far as to use better Discord just to make sure that he couldn't see any of Valko's messages. Now, I know this is not true. He was not using better Discord at the time when this all happened. He may have been at some point, but he wasn't at that time because the messages blocked thing was still visible. But if he had chosen to use better Discord, which is an option, I'm pretty sure that has ways to filter individual messages by what the text that's in them, by regex. He could have just done that. That would have solved not only the Falco issue, but also blocking any meme that is made by Falco. Why didn't he just do that? Well, he could have done, but instead he chose to threaten the server and then leave when I tried to calm him down. So
the threats, the threats really fucking made his position look very stupid and weak, and that was his own doing. But I think the premise is still there, so of this issue.
So what DocChox just said makes my argument a lot stronger. DocChox says he was, as in using better Discord, he re-enabled the block messages to prove a point. Right, well then he has absolutely no leg to stand on, because I'm 99% certain, if I'm wrong about this, then that changes things, but I'm 99% certain that you can filter messages by like text pattern in Better Discord. You can remove them. If you can do that, he had no leg to stand on to complain to me about it. If you can't dock, it's a plugin. I guarantee there's a way of doing it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. And if you can't, then someone should bloody make one, because that's an easy and obvious feature. It's in Better Discord. I don't think you've used Better Discord. It's a version of Discord that has plugins. If you can't dock truck, someone should make it, because like that's what he should be working on, because this is a personal issue on his end that he doesn't want to see some messages that are public in a public server. It's not our job to enforce his personal blacklist. That's my position. Of course, I'm willing to have my mind changed, but it's not super likely. That's my initial position anyway. So if he can just filter the messages, he should have done that. What was I going to say on the end of that? It's I forgot. I can't remember what I was going to say. There was another point on the end of that. Yeah, you can filter specific messages from the meme bot, even if you don't want to filter all of the messages from the meme bot. If he was using Better Discord, then he has no excuse for whining at me. That was it. Part of the reason that I am perhaps jaded to the complaints against Falco, and lots of people I saw in chat were making this point about Falco, is that there are certain people in the server that seem to have a misconception about what this server is. This server is not a curated community where we only invite and keep around the people we like. We are not a subreddit. This is an open free marketplace of ideas. Thus, until Falco breaks one of our very liberal rules, he is welcome, just as everyone else is. He may well be the only very apparent leftist we have. That is merely a matter of the fact that leftists these days are not usually willing to talk. Well, whatever he is, doesn't matter. Leftists are not usually willing to enter free marketplaces of ideas because they cannot compete their ideas against a free open marketplace of ideas. And he may be the most annoying person on the server. Yes, that's his own personal cross to bear, his own personal mental illness, if you like. That's completely separate. We do not get rid of people just because we don't like them. We are not leftists. We are not a subreddit. It's an open free marketplace of ideas. And there is a small cadre of people in Cabal who, despite however legitimate they can try to make their claims seem, it appears that their primary aim is to get Falco censored because they don't like him, or because of some other reason, feigned or genuine, that they think he should be removed from the server. I will never remove him from the server until he breaks one of our rules sufficiently enough that banning him is warranted. Because there was one time that I think he did break a rule, and we dealt with it socially, which is exactly how that rule is supposed to be dealt with. And he seems to have stopped doing it for now, anyway. Indeed, Aiden, indeed. Aiden says, but what if I'm really, really big, mad, butt baby angry about somebody? Yeah, indeed. It's not going to happen. So there are several people who I will not name, but several people who have talked today in chat. You are never going to convince me to ban or censor him unless he has actually broken a rule. Just bear that in mind.
I do think he has broken rules, though, especially in the past. Like, I physically had seen him and Sock fighting before, and they were both actively reporting each other's messages, and he actively said he was.
On that topic, Falco has said to me that he was reporting messages for doxing. That's a little different than reporting messages for... Well, hold on, we'll get to that in a second. That's a little different than reporting messages for merely... wow, I can't enforce my own personal filters because someone else on the server is relaying messages. Discord, please ban this server for me. That is baby shit. But reporting for doxing, that's more understandable. Now, we still have rules against doxing in the server. And so I still got rid of them and punished people that were doing it because that's reasonable. But I don't really begrudge Falco doing that because you want a quick response. And arguably, like, I'm not even necessarily against people's Discord accounts being banned if they do genuinely dox people. I wouldn't prefer that to be the way it's handled. I prefer it to stay in Cabal, but Falco reporting stuff there is not as bad. And perhaps much more importantly, him reporting dox is not an accusation against the server, especially because the server did deal with it. But SOC reporting the server is letting this person bypass the block, that is about the server. Because Discord appears to say that that's the server's responsibility to make sure that can't happen, to enforce against that, to make rules against it. So the differences there make the difference. That's why I treated them differently. However, many people have also told me that Falco was reporting messages for other reasons. So we probably should, as well as discussing the block circumvention thing today, also discuss what our policy should be firmly on people reporting to Discord. Because it's for one thing, there's a lot of grey area there. We don't know whether it's actually happened at any time, only by the report that they've given. And it's ambiguous. Some reports are, I think, better, okay, and some reports are not. Should we make a rule against that at all? Does it make sense to even try to make policy against that? It's the same thing as the previous matter is both of these things are much more difficult than you'd expect to make policy about. And it needs to be right, and we need to keep policy minimal. We already have, I think, more rules in the policies channel than I'd like. Doc Shock says, I'm convinced that if Falco were to break several rules, you would just change the rules so that he hadn't actually broken them anymore. See, a lot of people seem to have that position, and that, I think, comes from your intent to have him censored without him breaking any rules. And you're so intent on that you'll say whatever it takes. Now, I'm being a bit uncharitable there. I'm being a bit uncharitable there to you because you are one of the people who seems to want to get him censored regardless what he's done wrong. But I don't see where you're coming from on that. I have enforced the rules on Falco when he's broken them, and when he hasn't, I've told you why. If you're not satisfied with the why, then please be specific. He says there's a body of evidence regarding Falco's behavior here, and he's stated intent to continue bypassing blocks and performing other acts of harassment. Harassment is not against our rules, Doc Chalk. Why are you mentioning it? And bypassing blocks isn't either yet. It might be by the end of this stream, but it isn't either. So why are you mentioning these things? This is the kind of thing I mean. You don't like him. Neither do
They're
I.
Going off of, I think a lot of people
you
are
don't like him, neither do I.
TOS.
So why do you imagine that I will just get rid of him because I don't like him? I just got done explaining that this is a principled matter. We don't just censor people that we don't like. So why are you bringing me with this shit? But Uzlu, his favorite color is purple, and he likes to go on a walk at 8 a.m. That's really bad. I don't like him for that reason. Okay, I don't give a fuck. That's your business. I don't care what things he likes. Tell me when he breaks a rule.
I think it's more of him saying, "Oh, like kids can consent." That gets people upset mostly, but you know.
Yeah, that's an abhorrent opinion, but it's an opinion regardless that he's welcome to express.
Aiden. Like I said, Falcoshin is a massive troll, and I think he's actively before said he loves to fuck with people. And when you have someone like that saying shit like that, I always recommend a block. But then if you have him circumventing the block is where the issue is.
The issue with Falco is he's not actually it's sort of a troll. It's as with many things, it's complicated. I think he's so low on the totem pole in society that he would rather be a villain than ignored. And that sounds very negative, very depressing, I suppose, and that's where he is. He's that low on the totem pole. He's that low in life that's what he thinks is the best legally he can do. So that's what he is. That's what he's doing. Anyone that takes the bait with Falco is a fucking idiot. Half of you who are talking actively right now have at some point, and quite a few of you do regularly. The people that say he should be banned for whatever reason, most of you just are upset that you kept taking the bait. And most of the time he is baiting you to break the rules. Don't break the rules even if he baits you, you morons. This applies to some people, but not everyone, of course. Merlin says, this isn't about just not liking him, stop strawmanning. This is exactly as I pointed out in Billboard earlier. I'm going back to Cyberpunk Goodnight with poor leadership and free drama content. Well, Merlin, you're entitled to your opinion just like Falco is. Or, chat, do you think we should ban Merlin for his harassment of me in chat?
Oh, that would be hilarious. That would be very funny.
Maybe it would be hilarious, but it wouldn't be right.
No. I mean, it would be, you'd ban him for what, like 5 seconds, but then he might not return.
Merlin's opinion is, of course, welcome, but I do find him to be very single-minded.
Dude, back in the day when Cult Rat got banned 18 times, it's so different now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so different.
That doesn't look like Urza Nighthawk. But anyway, give him the roll banned. Merlin's a faggot because he blocked me. I really want to pull a Falco here. Oh, he blocked you, did he, Atronach? That's interesting. Yeah. Merlin seems to believe that I am just of a single mind on this, that I cannot be persuaded. Of course I can, but you have to come up with a good enough argument, and I haven't seen one yet. As far as I'm concerned, it's clear that it would have been wrong to do what Sock said or to censor Falco for anything he's done so far. But there are certain people that simply want him to be. I've also seen the argument made, which is a slightly better argument, that Falco is a source of long-term damage to Cabal. That either he endangers the server or he endangers the fabric of the community. Okay, that's interesting. I'd like to see some more detail from you on why you think that is. Some actual detail, some reasoning on why you think that is. Even if that were true, he wouldn't be censored. He wouldn't be removed from the server for that reason. But it might lead us to change some of the way that we treat him, some social aspects. But I've already recommended that people ignore him. Some people don't. And to just add to the thing about Sock earlier, this doesn't change anything materially, but it may change your perception of the matter. When Falco did this, when Falco used the bot to get around Sock's block of him, Sock was in Commons, where Falco is known to be, shit-talking Falco from behind the block. So again, it doesn't change what the policy we make will be, but it does change how respectable Sock's position was. Sock did almost everything wrong, to be honest. Sock says, you yourself stated that any future usage of the bot for that incident would be considered for this shit. Can you be more specific? I don't know what you mean there. Falco has since done it to Libby and openly said he intends to... Yeah, I know, Doc Chalk. Everything that happened between the first incident and when I make policy may be partially subject to any policy I make. But I'm not seeing a reason to make policy yet on this, to make it against the rule, to make a rule so that it's disallowed to use the bot to circumvent blocks. That is the business of the people in the server. You don't get the government to try and stop someone from printing someone's advert. You just boycott the company. It's when the advert itself is not wrong, but you don't want to see it. That's your business, not mine. And it would be wrong to allow individuals to enforce their personal block list onto the server. Chuck, you can post as many facepalm GIFs, images as you like, but what is actually wrong with the argument I'm making? I pinged Libertine because I saw that he was concerned with this issue as well. If Falco intends to continue using the meme bot to circumvent blocks and message people who don't want to see his messages, they have the same options. They can either block the meme bot or they can ask Zane to implement a policy,
or they can leave,
which spoilers certain messages. I'd rather they didn't, but they always have that option. Will. Yeah.
I actively think Falco is pushing a lot of people out of the server as well. But you might think that's good because it's getting rid of the weak-willed. But I don't necessarily think it's a good thing.
So I'm open to the possibility that Falco may push someone out the server who we don't want to lose. My memory's not great. I don't remember if there have been, usually. But so far, Sock is the only one I can remember who left because of Falco. There may be others, chat. Please remind me. But if that's the case, given what Sock did right at the end, yeah, I'm not going to miss him. To recap, he was shit-talking Falco behind a block in the place where Falco is known to be, reacted to Falco skirting around the block to say something silly in the meme bot by threatening to try and get Cabal taken down if I did not follow the TOS I don't care about. And then when I tried, and after multiple more threats, by the way, it was 0 to threats, there was no in between. After multiple more threats, I unpersoned him for threatening to get the server taken down and to separate him from Falco, to try and talk to him about the issue and explain that this is not as simple as he gives it credit for. We're not going to censor him for not breaking a rule immediately. And he argued with me for a bit in room 101 and eventually left voluntarily. He isn't banned. Now, that series of behavior leads me to believe that Sock is the kind of person who has been successfully filtered out of Cabal. Now, a lot of you may think that I only keep Falco around because of principles. There is another reason. I think he is useful. As I've said, every problem is a signal. And Falco produces problems at a record rate. And you may think producing problems, that's a bad idea. You don't want someone in here that produces problems. Then you wouldn't have any movement. You wouldn't have any cultural change. This is why we have people that produce problems in the real world as well. Evolutionarily, why have they not been, natural selected out of the evolutionary process? Because they are useful. Every problem is a signal, and Falco produces them at a record rate. So I will ban him if he breaks our rules, but I will be disappointed because he is useful. AC says, Falco occupying commons is depriving new fags of meaningful engagement with the Cabal. That's what concourse is for. AC, you're asking for concourse. That's what it's for.
Well, many people don't seem to know what fucking concourse is if we look at Voland. In help desk earlier.
Voland agrees with me on the block circumvention issue, but Voland seems to have the strange opinion that any place where people could conceivably talk, where some people can't, is censorship. So if you have a private DM channel, or a moderated channel, or if you're in a room with someone, and someone else could be there listening and talking, then you've censored them. I don't know if he's stated that opinion directly, but that is the direct extrapolation of the opinions that he has given. He believes that a channel that is labeled as curated, if I curate someone out of that channel, then I've censored them. And that I'm no longer a free speech advocate if I do so. That's what he believes, even though I could have just banned Falco from Commons. Most other servers would have just done that. But instead, because Commons is the free marketplace of ideas, the open public square discussion channel, minus adult content, which can be put in cesspool, because of that, I instead made an additional channel, which is a curated channel, sort of a ball pit, as AC said earlier, for new users. It's aimed towards new users, hence the slightly higher quality conversation. So you don't need to worry about new users being chased away because of Commons anymore, because you have Concourse. All right. In a minute, I think I'll just scroll up through the chat and see if I can find some things to respond to.
Oh, you will.
Bullpit, as in basically SFW says no, AC. That would be wrong. We're not banning anyone from Commons. Commons should be open to anyone in the server. There should be at least one. Frankly, there should probably be more than one. Open, like public square channel. As I said, there's actually two. Yes, because Commons and Cesspool. Commons only bans adult content and similar stuff, and Cesspool allows that. Also allows spamming. We have those open channels for everyone. That is the basis on which I can claim this is a free speech server, even though lots of other channels are curated. If we start removing people from Commons, then we can't really make that claim anymore. AC, the first channel they see is welcome. But the highest listed channel in the general category is Concourse. So that's probably the first one they'd end up in. But at the very least, it exists in case they want to see it.
Also, Tally says meme bot should be a privilege that can be lost, which I kind of agree with. I think to be able to use certain bot features like that, you should not only have a certain level, I think, of a role, but if you actively abuse it, it should be able to be removed from you. And I think that will deal with a lot of this issue.
That is a discussion to have with Zane, because it's his bot. That's what I mean.
It's your server. Yeah, and if he doesn't do it, just remove his bot.
I don't think it's right for me to force, because it's not elective. He can't just choose, I will now adjudicate who can use it. I will now have this list that people could. He has to put in the work. He has to put in possibly days of work to get the system working properly and to get it well integrated. And he's doing it for free, bear in mind. I refuse to impose restrictions upon bots in the server when they are not actually breaking our rules. Just like I'd refuse to do that for users as well. The reason I'm allowing anyone to put a bot in the server is because they are basically just users who are very attentive and always do a predictable thing. It's not much different other than that. I consider it a free marketplace, like an economic free market. Like each of these bots is a service that you guys can debate over. It's not for me to come in and say, you must put in this work to abide by something that is not in our rules, but that I think would be better. I think if you guys asked nicely, Zane would be willing to do this feature. By the way, all I would recommend is, not enforce, but at most what you should do is put certain people on a list where if they post a meme, it's always in spoiler tags. So you have to click on it to see it, which is the same as what the block feature does by default, which is not a bad solution, except of course it will be by poster, not by recipient, which is a problem. But then Zane can choose as he likes to exclude certain people from his bot. Again, you're coming to me, the government, essentially, in this analogy, to deal with a free market concern, which is not against the law, because your fifis are heard. Like, I cannot find a justification to make policy or enforce anything in this case, but I am still open to hearing your arguments on it. Atronach, do you know what penultimate means?
Oh, no.
Not another one.
How many people have you infected by just using this as a fucking adjective?
What do you mean?
I don't know if it was you, Di. I think it was. You were using penultimal, or was it Wes, as just a generic intensifier?
I don't think that was me, because it's not ringing a bell.
It might have been someone else. Hey,
well, just once again, I get the fucking blame.
I have been lied to then.
No, what you don't
understand. Usually blamed you for this.
Wes says it's not him either.
On me.
Wes says it wasn't him either.
It was someone.
Who's the people you have blamed us on then?
You know, it might have been a Doc allegedly, to be honest.
Oh my god.
It might have been.
I don't think it was him either, though. Like, I actually don't think it was.
Aiden's saying, is this a woman moment? Diane March, what do you think? By the way, Aiden,
I love how you can claim I did something, and then fucking Aiden comes in and is like, oh, look at this women moment of him actively lying about you.
Actively? Passively, yeah. I think you'll find. No, Aiden, this is March. I'm sure you two have not met. Doc Shock says, Memron is a feature of the server. See, that's the problem. If a corporation, to use this, or a company, let's not add incorporate, a company, a free market enterprise, is nationalized, then the government should have some say on what it can do outside the law. But when it hasn't been nationalized, they probably shouldn't. In this case, I am choosing very much to consider it to be not nationalized. It's part of the free market.
I advocate if we're going to shoot Falcon, we should probably shoot Poe as well. That's where my stance is. Oh, well, he should be shot anyway. Doc Chuck says, it's a feature of the server. People shouldn't have to remove themselves from a feature of the server because other people want to maliciously use said feature. At what point does the flaw appear in the rabbit hole? I don't know what you mean by that last part, but I can understand that argument. It's a de facto argument, but it's the kind of argument that you would hear from someone that says healthcare is a human right. It's not something that you can just have. It's not a liberty from oppression. It is an entitlement at that point. And what you're asking for is not merely an entitlement to the bot, and it's an entitlement to Zane's work to add filtering to the bot. Now, that is one way of approaching it. The other thing you could mean is just punish people for using the bot to get around a block. And I'm still somewhat open to that. Obviously, it's a separate matter from trying to integrate it fully into the bot itself. That's Zane's business. But when it comes to the server punishing people for misusing the feature, again, we come back to the previous argument, should the server help enforce people's individual blacklists, their client-side blacklists, especially when I cannot know who has who blocked, and it's not that you need to prove it or not, it's that it's not the server's place to do that. It's a bunch of extra work when you can do that work yourself. Jokshow says, I'm not asking Zane to do shit. I'm asking, where do we say shit is no longer okay? When it's against the rules, or when it's against any rule that should exist? So I don't know what you mean by that, Doc, but do you think, chat, that the server should help enforce people's individual blacklists
where that individual blacklist is not easy to enforce. I.e., should I punish people for seemingly using the meme bot to circumvent someone's personal block list? The problem, of course, there is right now Falco is making it obvious because it's not against the rules. If I put this rule into place, it would be dead easy to put it in that gray zone where it's like, here's a meme, a real meme, but it also includes a message for someone else, or it's a meme that they don't want to see, and I know they don't want to see it, so I'm going to post it every time they're around. It's a point I'm making that I know they disagree with and hate to see. The thing is, it ends up being, wow, I have Falco blocked. I don't want to see any of the memes he posts. Okay, what do I do about that then? Like, the more the blocker insists that the server has to get rid of, the more I have to enforce against. There's no end to what they can make me censor people for if I do that, if I make that a rule. It's completely up to the trust of the person who has someone blocked, and that is the person who is more likely to be emotionally unstable, let's put it that way.
I wish there was a role everyone could have that gives them the ability to use a bot, and that you could easily take it off someone if they actively use it against the server or break a rule.
See, that is an option, but as I keep saying, Dai, you could easily, instead of removing their access to the bot, just make so that every single meme they post is spoilered, so someone has to click it to see it. That is much more minimal, but achieves the same goal. So that's how we would do it. We could definitely do that. I mean, Zane would have to write it into his bot, but that could be done, technically speaking. The question is, as I've just said, Dai, the enforcement of that is going to have some massive grey zones, and it's not going to be bounded. Whatever the person that's blocked them wants to be blocked, they could ask to be blocked. Like,
I think it'll be evident. I personally think it'll be very evident the ones that should be blocked from the meme usage by their actions. And I think if they actively go and do something outside the line, you can just literally post a screenshot. Look, this is what they did. Like, it's not going to be something anyone can just claim and force upon somebody else just because they say so. Like,
hold on.
Here, you need the evidence.
What you're asking for and what Atronach is asking for, give bot access to level 2 and up. My dude, what you're asking me for is to kick out hundreds of people from accessing this bot just because one person doesn't want to kick themselves off it.
That's not what I'm saying, first of all.
But that's what he's saying, and 3 people have upvoted that. That is fucking retarded. Like, that is disadvantaging a massive swath of users on this server because one person doesn't want to just block the bot. They don't want to lose the bot, so they have to make hundreds of other people lose it instead. Never.
No. What people want is that if somebody breaks a rule or actively uses the bot, that they lose the ability to use the bot, and everyone else is fine.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's still punishing the person who's using it rather than the person who just wants to get the thing blocked.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a personal block list here. They should just be able to not see the memes. Like, ultimately, it's a Discord issue. If Discord added a feature in where you can block...
Discord issue.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the cross feeds, by the way, though. If Discord had a feature where you could easily block things by filtered text, for example, then we wouldn't have to be discussing this. The thing is,
the block feature needs an overhaul altogether, to be honest.
Sure, yeah. To be able to totally hide the messages, people have asked for that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But because that doesn't exist, it comes down to, wow, the server has to do it for me, but we do not have the tools to do that. Even with the cross feeds thing, the thing where posts get replicated into the other channel, that's difficult. It took me like a week to code that. It's difficult. I had to do that because Discord does not have a way to hide text posts in channels that are meant for images mostly. So I had to do something where it finds the images and posts them into another channel. And so I put in the work to do that. But in this case, we don't even have the tools. You're welcome. In this case, we don't even have access to the information that will allow us to do it on a basic level. We don't know who has who blocked, and we can't know. We would have to just trust what the blocker says, and then whatever they want censored from this other person using some server feature has to be censored. Is it right for the server to censor someone because someone else does not want to see what they post? And, like, yes, it's obvious when Falco's using it to get around the block right now, but one, should we even do anything about that? Should we? That's something that several people are not asking. And two, what happens when it's in that very, very definite gray zone. It's not clear if they are using it to get around a block, but someone doesn't like the way they're using it, so they ask them to be censored by the server. It's not the server's place to do this.
I think it was very obvious why it was a circumvented block, because he was actively talking to the person in the meme that was posted at them. It's something different if there's just a generic meme, but it was actually his message just in meme format sent, which I think is what made it very obvious.
We could indeed make policy saying something that specific, that if you use a bot feature in a way that is blatantly addressed at someone who does not want to see it, then you may lose access to that bot feature, or you may have your access reduced. There are still problems there. For one thing, that means we're making policy the policy requires Zane to put more work into his bot. It requires him to. And again, that is a government distortionary solution to a free market problem. Are we okay with that, chat? Wes desperately wants to speak, so I'm going to...
I know he does. I'm waiting.
Go ahead, Wes.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? What the fuck? What fucking place do you think this is? You think this is pre-Elon Twitter? You think this is current Elon Twitter? You think this is fucking Reddit? You think this is 2016 Tumblr? For fuck's
Wes,
sake,
you
people.
have no leg to stand on, Wes. What are you talking
Ignore it.
That's why I've been
coming out with the
saying
pilot to
that
create
too.
a cyberbullying approach.
Yeah.
It's words and pictures I don't like on the internet. Here's an idea. Get the tampon out of your fucking vaginas and put it over your eyes so you don't have to see it anymore, all right? You fucking women.
Blood tint.
You fucking women. You fucking pussy little leftist censorious
I
little
like to point out that I don't think even women are this pathetic at times.
Every single one of you fuckers asking to censor Falco are just as bad as cancel culture.
Yeah, just put a bullet in his head.
Single one of you. Every single one of you. You are the ones that you are the equivalent of the ugly chick who tried to get that one guy kicked out of Atheism Plus in 2014. That's you. That's fucking you. That is literally you right now. Stop. Cease. Grow a fucking penis and a pair of balls and be a fucking man. Even the women.
I've said from the get-go to not be responding to Falco. And to be fair, Falco doesn't even bother me. Falco doesn't bother me because I've called him out on what he does, and I don't actively engage with his baiting. So
yeah, do people honestly fucking do realize that this whole fucking thing, the fact that Uzlu, poor innocent childlike Uzlu here, the fact that he had to do this stream means Falco is rolling right now.
Oh yeah,
he fucking won by this fucking stream for you guys.
To be clear, though, it is worth discussing.
He is lapping up all of this shit right now. No, it was Luke. Absolutely. Okay.
Well, no, the dude that got himself banned, threatening the server, trying to get him censored, is what really lost.
It's worth discussing insofar as that we mock these pussies that actually want to censor someone for words. Jesus fucking Christ, people. Do you know where you fucking are? But you know what? I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it. Because you are absolutely correct, Uzlu. We do need to have this conversation because the pendulum is turning to the other side and people on quote unquote our side are going to get power and you are going to get shit like this. So it needs to be pointed out, dragged out into the sunlight and burned for the horrible ideas that it fucking is. We do not censor over words. We do not censor because we don't like the one again. That's not what we do. We're not pussies. We're not censorious, authoritarian cunts. Authoritarian, excuse me. We're not that. And if we become that ain't gonna be me.
I really don't think we're getting there, personally.
Of course we're not. Of course we're not. Because we are all mocking these people. And here's the thing. Because we're mocking you, it doesn't mean we hate you. Doesn't mean we think you're bad. We think you're stupid for this one particular opinion. But you know what? You have the ability to change your opinion, and I strongly suggest you do. Or otherwise, you'll keep getting made fun of. You don't want to get made fun of anymore? Stop.
Also, I recommend if you have someone blocked, maybe don't make a big show and tell that you have and give them more incentive to try and find a way to fuck with you. Because I think a lot of people actively go on and be like, oh yeah, I have Falco banned. Well, fuck you, Falco. I can't see shit. And I think that just kind of gives him more incentive to fuck with you because it knows it will bother you.
So listen,
he's a fucking troll.
Let's talk about the actual Falco effect quickly. So, Wes, I mentioned possibly before you were here that I think Falco is valuable because every problem is a signal, and Falco produces problems at a record rate. And every single time he produces a problem by trying to circumvent a rule or piss someone off, it means that we find what might have been a hole in our policies that would have been discovered years hence if we had not had an antagonizer like Falco here. So we can find the edge cases in our policies quickly with him here, and that is a benefit. This is potentially one of them, because we're discussing whether it is. But like for that, he's useful, but obviously he pisses a lot of people off. I think that having this stream is, if nothing else, useful to settle that we don't need policy, but we might do something with it. I don't know. Either way, I think it is useful. But yes, you could also argue that Falco is probably gratified that he's being given this much attention by the people that make this an issue and cause me to have to talk about it on stream. However, that doesn't matter to me. His gratification is irrelevant if we're getting something useful out of it, which I think we are. I do enjoy the discussion anyway. But
I think the only thing like useful out of this is actively mocking the people who actually want censorship. Who actively want to censor someone because of things that they're saying and showing on the internet. It's the fucking internet, man.
Doc Shock says...
Okay, here's the thing. If it's child porn, yeah, obviously we get that shit off because that's fucking horrid. And it's like, well, where's the line? Where's the line? Child porn. Congratulations, you found the line.
That should always be the line.
So
is it a 16, 17-year-old or younger naked or in a sexually promiscuous position? Get it off the internet. Otherwise, no.
There are a few other things, but they're very limited. Doc Chuck says Falco is not useful. Falco is a liability, and it's only a matter of time until some moron does something monumentally stupid. Fine, that it's their choice if they get baited because they're retards and can't handle it. It's not up to me to handle their emotional state by banning Falco or censoring him. Look, I want to make this point very clear because this has been going on for a long time. Some of you people have allowed Falco to get you addicted to arguing with him to the point that I don't think you can see much else. Some of you seem to have abandoned any other sort of principles on the basis of this fight, the basis of this will to destroy him. He has got you into so many arguments where he's fabricated such annoying responses to you that now your main objective is to get rid of him no matter what you have to say to do it, and you'll give up anything. To some of you, the war with Falco is more important than anything else, at least related to this server. He has managed to drag some of you, literally to bait some of you into becoming much worse people by what you've done here. For your own sake, those of you who this applies to, you have to get out of this. This has been going on for a long time. Find something more positive to do in your life. Find, things that you can do that don't make you this pissed off, that don't sacrifice who you are because you cannot handle how much of an asshole he is. If you get yourself into a state where your main goal is to get him censored by any means, it's gone too far. Find something else to do. And if you really do think that it's right to get rid of him from the server, give me good arguments for it, because I haven't seen them yet.
I guess the reason why I'm fired up is because I just spent 4 hours saying and doing absolutely nothing in a meeting today. And I was instead of actually paying attention to the meeting, I was reading the Constitution. And specifically the Declaration of Independence. and the preamble to the Constitution and the Big Ten and stuff like that. And it's just like, God fucking damn it, people. We have got so much. We have got quite a big shoes to fill, people. And this ain't it. This ain't fucking it.
Doc Shock says, can't say I'm surprised, but so far all I've heard is about what I expected and what a few people told me to expect. I disagree with you, Doc. If your response to me disagreeing with you passionately is to say, ha, I knew you were going to do that, doesn't really get your point across, does it? Now, Doc, if you want to come on the stream, I'll let you. This is an open forum. I want to discuss this with the people who are important. And I would hope that my guests will let him speak and we'll have a relatively one-to-one rate of conversation with him. I want him to get his point across. But I think he has expressed himself in the chat, and I honestly have not seen any good arguments from you yet, Doc. The only thing we might consider is if we make a policy that there's too many problems trying to make a policy with trying to prevent people from block circumvention for the reasons I've already given. It's not likely to be something that even fits as policy, but I'm still open to hearing your arguments on it. Apparently, Doc Shock is currently taking a shit, so he can't join. Doc, is it going to take you the rest of your life? Because otherwise, I'm sure you could tell us, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
These are always funny.
Like, there were other people that disagreed with me on this as well.
Listen,
as I said, Sock is welcome to come back in the server.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to come on the voice channel here and actually discuss the issues, you see it, I will probably side with you on some things. Like, you're not going to be completely alone against like four or five people if you think that's what's going to happen.
So, what was I going to say? Not a Sock is not banned from the server. He never was.
Yeah, he could.
He is. He could join and discuss this if he wanted to right now.
Somebody should tell him
if anyone wants to, they can get a message to him.
Yeah.
So aside from that, Kizza, I'll bring it's open to people that have a strong opinion, especially those that disagree. I already have 3 guests on who don't significantly disagree with me. So getting someone else on who does agree is not a top priority. But if you do significantly disagree, Kizza, then I'll hear what you have to say on the stream. But I haven't, from your messages, it hasn't looked like you've significantly disagreed yet. Doc Shock says, I did the call, I'll try to be somewhat quiet. No, I'm not going to bring you on the call while you're on the shitter. Tell me when you're off the shitter, and then you can come on the call. Oh, Uzu refused to bring me on the stream. Well, maybe you won't say that.
Not everyone is that rude or retarded. Maybe he won't do that.
AC, I believe the circumstances around that were quite different, so it's not worth bringing that up. I wouldn't think so. Chock says 10 minutes, so fine. Did you forget about the non-Sri allegation? Well, Kizza, that is a different matter. Yes, it's still Falco, but it is a different matter. I'm still not sure what the best solution for a server, for a community to deal with defamation is, because I don't want it to just sit, like, to just be able to spread like that, but also I don't know if a server can prevent it, and I think the server adjudicating on it is also a bad idea for lots of other reasons. I did have an idea, and I also think that a moderator defaming someone, that can be punished because they are essentially an officer of the server, and that would reflect on the server's opinion. So a moderator defaming, that I think I would do something about. But when it's just users doing it, I am considering removing the defamation rule entirely. There may be something else we can do, though. Like, I did have the idea, and this is maybe not a great idea, but it's possible that if you say you've been defamed, then we allow you to post a response in a specific place, whichever one can see. And then the person who you've accused of defamation can respond at the same length underneath what you've said. And then that's it. That's something I've considered as a replacement to the rule against defamation. But bear in mind, guys, and this is something I know Wes has said, this is something I know a lot of you are aware of. That's also another thing, the Streisand effect, but that's their choice. Bear in mind, guys, that every rule that you make, every single one, even if you say this should be handled socially where possible, every single rule can lead to a ban. And it's like, yeah, you were pulled over because your tail light was not working, and then because of your reactions to that, you escalated it to being shot in the head. Now, your actions are what caused that, but none of it would have happened if not for the tail light. So you've got to make sure that all of your laws can justifiably eventually lead to the maximum punishment if they refuse to comply with you. It has to be justified enough that you can justify forcing them to comply. And I don't think the defamation rule is.
Hey, Uzlu.
Yeah.
I heard you are a giant, fat, alcoholic pussy who sucks penis on a regular basis.
I'm going to write that in the defamation notices channel, Wes, and then you'll be sorry.
No, because people would have to believe that, and all they have to do is have eyes.
I think most people
do. You believe what I just said? Mosh, do you believe what I just said?
Real. Absolutely real and true.
Hey, yep.
Zane says, if I make a pseudo mod bot, does that make a defense contractor? I want to clarify that I've said that anyone, pretty much anyone, can add a bot to the server if they want to, because bots are basically just like a user account, but they're automated. So they can post more predictably, but they have no special powers. But I want to add on to that. One, it should be a bot that you've developed yourself, but I will allow you to add bots if you think they're really worth it that someone else made. And two, I will absolutely not give it any more permissions than a normal user would have. If you try to add a bot in here that asks me for admin permissions, I will delete the bot and shame you publicly. So when you add it to the server, it will probably just have send and read permissions for the channels it strictly needs. Yeah. To reiterate, the war with Falco has gone on too long for some of you, and it's clearly making you worse people. Reevaluate your long-term considerations when it comes to Falco. Why are you wasting your time with him? Find something better to do with your time. And stop trying to make the server owner punish him because you don't like him. Or tell me what rule he's broken.
Chat, I have an idea. If all of you block him, right, he will have no other way to communicate but the bot.
Which would be kind of funny. It would be kind of funny.
Wouldn't that be funny?
If you deliberately expose yourself to Falco and then insist that I take action against him when he hasn't strictly broken a rule, what the hell am I supposed to think? Except that you are addicted to the conflict and hate him enough that you want him censored for no good reason. That's how it looks.
I do think there's many reasons why people dislike Falco, and it's not for no reason, though.
Oh, there's a lot of good reasons not to like Falco.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good reasons. None of them are worthy of a ban or censorship.
Yeah. Kizza, I don't...
Including the opinion that he thinks kids should be trooned and diddled. Including that. I know you don't want to hear it. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but you are allowed to have that opinion.
No, you're not. If you say that in front of me, if you say it in front of me, you get shot. Therefore, you don't have that right.
That doesn't stop them from die.
Death stops them.
You need to understand this important distinction. Okay, you are allowed to have that opinion, but you are not immune to the consequences of that opinion. Okay? You are not immune to the consequences of pushing that ideology. And sometimes the consequence of pushing the ideology of trooning and diddling kids is getting shot or jagged through the street until you turn
I'm glad
red.
we agree. Okay, that's all.
There's
all I wanted.
There's a lot of uncomfortable grey area there that you need to be careful of, because corporate censorship exists even when sometimes it's not instructed by the government. So there is some grey area there, but generally, yes. When an individual responds nastily, they can still be punished for the nastiness with which they respond to it. If they shoot you in the head, they're still a murderer. But there's nothing to say that you should be allowed to just say anything and they can't react to you.
Like I'm not saying shoot them, but I do genuinely say that, and this isn't just Falco. There are a few people in this server that could do with getting punched in the face a couple times. Yeah, not saying Not saying killed, but good punch in the face to just reorient some things. You'd be surprised how well it works on people.
The problem is most of the time with people that diddle kids, it doesn't work on them. So you have to go the extra mile.
No. The overwhelming majority of folks, especially men, especially younger men, get the shit beat out of you a couple times for something that you said, you'll learn.
No, they haven't stopped the pedophiles still showing up at fucking meetups.
Hold on. We have no reason to think that Falco is a pedophile.
Yeah, he look, he is
very likely, but
pretty much everything that he says at this point, everything that comes out of his mouth, unless it's proven otherwise, is a troll.
All right, so it looks like a troll. It looks like Chalk has just got done evacuating diarrhea. So he thinks he's finished.
Oh boy.
Chat, do we bring on the brown fire hose? Or do we tell him to seal his rectum or he can't come on? Press 1 to bring him on. Press 2.
That's just gay, though. You're just asking. No.
All right. Doc, I'm going to bring you on. Regret in 3, 2, 1. Hello, Doc.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you doing tonight, Islu? Thank you for bringing me on here.
No worries.
Hi, Di. I think we've spoken over VC before. How are you doing? Okay.
Di is muted and deafened, but I prefer to believe that she deliberately ignored you.
I think, Doc left.
Wait, what happened?
Doc left. Okay, I guess he needed some more shit.
Oh, well.
I bet he fat-fingered it.
I bet
he's on his phone.
That is a first. Someone leaving the host room because they had explosive diarrhea. No, he's saying that his client disconnected.
Fucking Discord once again showing how perfect it is.
Doc, are you using Better Discord, which crashed because Better Discord is unreliable?
No, I have an alternate Discord client, though, and I think what happened was I tried to bring back up the stream on an alternate tab, and it just didn't like that. So I'm not going to do that for a little while.
You double-clicked on The Apprentice to see the screen share, didn't you? That's what everyone else does.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, that's my fault. I apologize.
Yep.
Anyways, so I'm not going to defend what Noda did. Noda had a meltdown. He's been going through a lot of shit recently. It doesn't excuse it, but he just kind of had enough.
Well, he's not
so let's put Noda off the table here for a second. I just want to open this up by saying from the top that part of the reason why I have this issue is because I've enjoyed this server. Granted, there's a few of you I can't stand here, but you know what? You have the right to be here for the most part. Anyways, the problem comes in is that I would like to see this server continue. The problem comes in here that having Falco do what Falco does is not conducive to having the server continue. People have pointed out Rome, which I was never on. I'm not sure about Athens. People have mentioned Athens to me. I'm not even sure what Athens is. Admittedly, Cabal is my first time interacting with most of you, and I've enjoyed most of you. So just to clear the air here on where my line is my line is not trying to get Falco banned because I hate Falco or anything of that sort. Honestly, I regard Falco as an idiot and an annoyance.
All right.
I didn't quite say that, Verdant, but okay. Anyways, so my problem here is that Falco is actively going out of his way to bait people into doing stupid shit.
Yes, he is.
People like Lance. People like
being a troll.
Look, I get it, but we're talking about a troll that endangers the distance. Forgive me, I cannot seem to speak the English today.
That's right, Doc. I think I know what you're saying. Okay. He does not endanger it. The people he baits and who fall for it do. And this is what I kind of mean. Like, the kind of person who would fall for it is the kind of person who then leaves the server because they don't like that Falco is still here. But that is a filtration of exactly the kind of person who falls for bait and isn't good enough to stay in Cabal.
So hold on a second. To a certain extent, sure, but when I hang a "Beware of Dog" sign on my fucking property, is it your fault for hopping my fence and getting mauled by my dogs, or is it my dog's fault? Because I can tell you what,
the person's fault who jumped over the fence, always, every time.
Sure.
Don't jump over the fence.
In some European countries, they would say the opposite, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, this isn't a backwards, disgusting European country filled with communists and niggers. This is fucking America, all right?
I'm not an American, dude.
So
you're in Europe.
Aren't American. So let's just take this to more of an international line. My problem here is that by doing what Falco does, sooner or later, he is going to instigate someone into doing something so monumentally stupid that it will get the hammer dropped down on all of us. I'm not a fan of censoring idiots on the grounds that they are idiots. However, I cannot say that I am entirely against the idea of getting rid of somebody who has not only demonstrated themselves to be an active detriment, but has declared their open desire to be a detriment, to get the hammer brought down.
I understand.
On all of us.
Chuck, I've never had a inherent disagreement that he might be more of a detriment to the server long term than advantage. I'm open to that. I would like more specifics, but what I want to say to that is that a lot of people have a misconception that we have an absolute "we cannot let Cabal be taken down" policy. A lot of other servers act like that, where they believe that once they've made it, they have to keep it there. No question. So they follow the TOS and they ban people for saying nigger and they ban people for saying naughty things and posting naughty videos. We don't do that here. We have a policy whereby we do what's correct, and if the server gets taken down, we make another one, because that is the principled thing to do. And it takes less than a day to recreate the server, and that's all the work we have to do to have a genuinely free speech server. That is how you operate when you're a dissident and your opponent owns the platform. So if Falco baits some moron into doing something that does get the server taken down, so be it. We make another one. The principle matters more.
So first of all, I'm just going to address Kiza real quick on the side. Kiza, I have not seen that. I have no desire to see that. It isn't alleged for me, and I'm not going to comment on it. Please stop bringing it up to me, because I have no interest in knowing about it one way or another. Thank you.
I was going to say Kiz's messages probably should be read at some point, because I didn't think he did bring up something interesting, but that's for later.
We can certainly do them after the conversation with John.
Yeah. Thank you, Kiza. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just I have no interest in seeing anything about it. I don't know for sure, and I don't want to know for sure. And we'll just leave it at that. So back to this, right? The problem here is that it probably isn't so much the server. It's that some of us are on our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I'm on my 10th account with Discord, believe it or not. Getting everybody back, getting all of those connections relayed is a massive pain. It is incredibly painful. And when people come along...
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry?
Censorship is worse. We have gone through it once before. It is annoying. If it started happening every day, maybe we'd try something else. But so far, it's happened once in 6 years.
Okay. Well, I'm not arguing to the frequency.
And
I'm just saying
the first Cabal server had 2,500 members, and this one has like 1,250, I think. We did lose a lot of people, but the active ones stuck around. The people that cared stuck around. Chat. I want to take a quick poll on this.
I'm not addressing the frequency. I'm just...
Okay,
sorry.
But still, chat, press 1 if you would prefer to have a server that goes down once every few years but has the right principles. Press 2 if you would rather the server stuck around for longer but censors more stuff.
You really
this is not necessarily disagreeing with your position, Choc. I just want to make it clear that's what we're doing. That's the general attitude. So if due to those free speech principles, something goes wrong and the server gets taken down, so be it. We make another one. Yeah. The principle matters more.
Those who sacrifice freedom for safety acquire neither and loses both.
Sure, I never had an issue with that quote. It wasn't Franklin who said it, but it was a quote by a founding father, if I remember correctly.
I do want to understand your position, Chalk. It does seem like you're leaning in that direction.
I mean, that's an argument for another time. So just to be clear, and I kind of want to address something earlier. I'm not trying to argue for censorship for the sake of censorship. I'm not attempting to get anyone banned because I hate them. I mean, I only have 2 people here blocked. One of them being Wix, that way his images don't fucking cache.
Understandable.
That is kind of understandable, actually, yeah.
Because Discord thankfully does not cache images when you block an account. The other one being Jimbo, because I got tired of him reacting to everything and whatever. That's a separate issue. It's not relevant here. This isn't a matter about hating Falco. This is a matter about liking the server, liking a majority of the people. I would honestly say a majority of the people here I like. And I would like to see this community continue on.
I definitely understand where you're coming from, Chalk. You've explained this before. I really want to hear from you specifics. Like, you say that there's a possibility that someone will take some really bad bait and end up doing something really bad. What do you have in mind for what that would be? Like, there could be things. Like, for example, T in Space he did actual terrorism, but it just so happens that Cabal didn't face any consequences for that, possibly because we banned him. Because it was a serious real life crime.
I mean, so
finally banned him, I mind you.
No, as soon as we know he'd done it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, Aiden. So there's a bunch of screenshots floating around of Falco basically daring people to do terrorism. I posted one at you the other day, and Help Desk, I don't know if you saw it.
Do a flip,
with Pippa and a freaking Fed.
I've actively said if you're actively wishing harm on yourself, like, I'm not going to have any kind of. I'm not going to care if anything does happen.
There's a problem here, Chalk, that it's a very common issue between the left and the right, where. And it's understandable, I may have done it myself before, where people who are on the left look at the right, and the right are making some dark off-color joke, and the left thinks they're being serious because they don't understand the culture. And then it happens the other way around as well. It does happen the other way around as well. We may sometimes take our opponents too seriously, though I think I am careful about that, but it may still have happened. So always consider the possibility that when Falco says, do a flip faggot or do a terrorism faggot, he isn't seriously recommending that you do a terrorism faggot. But even if he is, he still has almost no culpability if someone chooses to do a terrorism. That's still on them if they choose to do it. Like, the solution, once again, is don't listen to the faggot. And if anyone does, then that's their problem. And if they go do a terrorism as a result, then that's their problem.
Also, this is the first time the server has been taken down, to be aware.
So, Uzulu, on principle, you're right. I agree with you. It is the responsibility of somebody who does an action that, they deal with the consequences of the action, that they are responsible for their own actions and no one but their own actions. But at some point, I feel that we have to ask the question, where do we say, okay, so-and-so is doing enough where they are actively destroying, what we're trying to make here.
When they break our rules. I mean, again, like, what I'm trying to make is a free marketplace of ideas. If I censored Falco without a good enough reason, I would be failing to make it. There is an argument to be made, Chalk, that the reason you like Cabal is the principles it's built on. And what you're asking us to do to save what you like about it would actually defeat the very thing that makes it likable in the first place.
Uzulu, trans people are literally killing themselves right now. There's literally a genocide. So I just think we should enforce asking and using proper pronouns, because I don't want to lose this community.
It does come across a bit like that, Chalk. I want to hear what you're saying that's different from that. Like, I understand, but you have to understand that is a speculative, pragmatic concern with no precedent to the extent that you're saying that it could happen. And what you're asking me to do about this speculative concern is defy one of the core principles of Cabal to protect it. I'm not seeing how it's proportionate.
I mean, we're kind of at an impasse here.
Either we haven't understood your position, Chalk, or it doesn't make any sense. Either we haven't understood your position correctly, or it doesn't make any sense. So the only impasse is if it doesn't make any sense. Please try to help us understand it.
So, Chuck, tell me what the difference between what you're saying and what I just said is, other than the direct subject matter.
Well, A, it's one person, and two, it's an extended history. It's not just people making dumbass jokes. You know, there is something to be said between a difference of somebody making a joke and somebody doing active agitation.
I think what Falco's doing could be interpreted the same way. At the very least, it shouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah. I see most of what I see most of what Falco says, and I think it's trolling and trying to get a rise out of people, which he obviously has been very successful at.
So Falco, two things. One, where's my $5? Two, I've heard your voice. You sound like you have grease in your throat. Please stop talking.
Dude, you are doing exactly what he wants right now.
I'm just ribbing him a bit.
No, you're not. You're giving in to the troll, dude. Ignore him.
I understand what you're saying with your concerns about the long-term health of the server, but I think maybe more of our viewers may have the completely false, of course, perception that because that argument doesn't really seem to fully make sense, that it is a mask over your actual hatred and wish to censor Falco. Now, I don't believe that, but I want you to convince people that might think that that's not what you're doing.
So I want to address earlier, because I was given what I've been given now to understand was a false understanding of the rules. My understanding of the rules previously, when I was making the rules argument about the bots to you, and we'll start with this, was my understanding was that Zane was a mod, Mimron is his bot, and the rule supposedly that I was given to understand was that you weren't supposed to block mod bots. So
I understand
if I'm wrong,
that misunderstanding.
Mod.
I do need to hold on, guys. Hold on. I do need to clarify that, but no, the policy is you can't block my bot, Uzabot, which is actually a nationalized entity, as it were. It is an institution of the server, and you can't block me, and you can't block moderators. But if a moderator had a bot, you could block that, and Zane is not a moderator. However, I may even remove some of those rules. I may remove the restriction on blocking Uzabot. I may remove the restriction on blocking some other things. I don't know, but either way, no, you could block his bot. So I understand the misconception there, Chalk, but to clarify, no, that would have been fine.
So
Zane is gay enough to be a moderator, so I can understand how you would think he was a mod. It's very understandable. So that I can't hold against.
I'm still not familiar with all the roles here, or with all the roles here, excuse me. So when I see Watchmen or something like that, I think, oh, this person's a mod or this person's a Janny.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can always click on their name and see what their roles are. That is a feature on Discord.
Zane has the Watchman role, which I thought was a janitor role.
Right. See, that is something I need to clarify to make sure people understand. Just in case anyone's missed it, those of you that are listening now, the Watchman role is not the moderator role, and they are not moderators. They don't even have official power. They are a group of trusted users who have access to the moderator discussion channel, and they are expected to report things that the moderators need to know. And in a raid, they gain some official powers, but they aren't allowed to use it other than that. So Watchmen is just a group of promoted users who have some access to the moderators and are expected to give them information. Moderator is a separate thing. They have official power.
So just a suggestion, it may be wise to put out a list of roles and what they actually do, at least surface roles. Yeah. Just a thought.
Just quickly, Chok. Jimbo, Falco doesn't need to defend himself. Not for me, anyway. Maybe we could bring him on to discuss it, but I don't think there's much of a need.
Yeah, I don't have much of an interest in talking to him, I'm gonna be honest. But I would like to bring up, this isn't the first time that I called for somebody to be removed from the server. If you remember correctly, I also called for Lance to be removed from the server for doxing someone. I called for, was it Hatter or Harry, to be removed from the server when they posted Lolly in CP, or in Cesspool, excuse me. You know, this is not the first time. This is not the first time.
I don't remember the latter case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. The point here is, I'm not picking on Falco because it's Falco. I'm singling Falco out because, so since I've been here over this past year, we have been with there's been 3 of these streams that I can recall. There's possibly been more. I'm pretty sure there hasn't been left. I don't hallucinate that often. But there's been 3 of these streams where Falco's behavior has been at the heart of it, including the last one, where you had him on. Well, you didn't have him on voice, but you did have him on text. And, you know, you said, hey, I did this for you last time. Why are you pretending that I did not? My question is how many times are we going to have these situations pop up where Falco's at the heart of it, where Falco is undeniably the aggressor, and he was here. I'm going to say that straight up.
Wood chipper.
He was flatly the aggressor here.
Depends how many times you're going to fall for his shit.
It really depends what you mean by aggressor. Like if I call someone a nigger faggot, I have aggressed on them, but that doesn't necessarily justify anything. In fact, if I call them a nigger faggot and then they threaten to get the server taken down, I don't consider the nigger faggot caller to be the main aggressor, even though they started it. What he started, it wasn't bad until Sock made it bad. And maybe there could be policy against it, but there wasn't yet. So aggressor, he was the antagonizer, as he always is, but that's what you come to expect from Falco.
So as Israel points out, I probably should have used the word instigator. But
Sure.
my question here, this isn't a question about bad words. This isn't a question about bad words, because I'm honestly of the opinion that you should be able to say just about whatever you want.
You could also, sorry to interrupt, Chuck, just quickly, you could also say that Sock was the instigator for shit-talking Falco from behind a block in the place Falco is known to be. You know, there's a reason that you can't do that with a restraining order. You can't get a restraining order against someone, then go to their house. You're in trouble if you do that. So I'm not saying it's exactly the same here, but there is some degree of analogy to it. So Falco wasn't necessarily the instigator. At this point, it's a war between 2 factions, Falco on one side and several others on the other side. There isn't a single instigator in most of these cases. It's a result of generational conflict.
Speaking of an instigator, we should bring Aiden in here.
So
we've already got enough.
I'm just going to leave it at, how many times are we going to be dragged in? How many times are we going to be dragged into this scenario where we have to have these conversations? Because
how many times are you going to fall for it? How many times are you going to let him bait you? How many times are you going to let him? Are you going to let him get under your skin? That's the real question you should be asking. Ignore it. It's words on the internet.
Chuck, I don't think the question is one that impugns on me for creating these conversations. I think these conversations are a good thing. I think that the question impugns upon those who complain about something that is not a problem. But then again, it doesn't have to impugn on anyone. The more of these conversations Falco makes, the more conversation there will be on these topics, which is probably a good thing. Yes, he makes it necessary to go over some areas of policy which are edge cases, which would otherwise not be addressed, but that means they have been addressed and we can solidify the policy better. He does impose more work to keep the policy maintained and to keep things stable on the server. So be it. It's a free marketplace of ideas. That is what happens when you get people in here who oppose a large number of other people on the server, who consistently troll them and find the lines in the rules. That's fine. Like, don't act like these conversations and these discussions and the drama that surrounds Falco are inherently a bad thing. There is much to be gained from these conversations.
Uzlu, this person serially misgenders people. How many times are we going to let this person keep misgendering people? There's a literal genocide going on right now of trans people. Trans lives are being lost on an insane degree. How can we let these people misgender people in our server, Uzlu? How many times? How many times?
Chuck, can you explain how that's not analogous?
because A, we're not talking about a group of people, and we're not talking about people making dumb jokes. We're talking about one person openly stating their intention.
Those things aren't relevant to the analogy, I'm afraid. Those are the things that do change between analogy and reality. The analogy is demonstrating
other than the direct subject matter. Yeah. What is the difference between what I said and what you said?
The analogy is about the principle. What's the principal difference, John, between that and what you're saying?
You can go ahead and sigh all you want, but what is the difference?
You're bullying him, Wes. Wes, you're a bully. All right? You're a fucking bully, Wes. It's about time someone said it to your face.
Get off the wheelchair and ruin yourself and end up in autistic schools.
To be completely fair, I am the interloper on this stream, so I cannot say that I did not.
No. Don't. You don't get to get out of this that easily, my dude.
No, I'm not getting out of anything.
What is the difference? What is the difference between what I said and what you said, other than the direct subject matter? I'm not doing this to fuck with you. I'm doing this so you realize that you are exactly the same right now.
But I am not exactly the same.
Please tell us why.
Problem here.
How?
Every time I attempt to, I get interrupted. Please, can I just have 2 minutes?
Bro, so first, don't pull that shit.
Doc, you're welcome. You're welcome to give your answer. But the reason we interrupted last time is because you seemed to have misunderstood the question.
So, problem 1 here is the scope, and problem 2 here is the intent. I don't think anybody here, save for a couple of people, seriously means anyone actual harm by making jokes about transgender individuals. I'll say that because we're on YouTube and I don't want the stream to get pinged. Falco, on the other hand, has openly stated his intentions to do harm to the server, and his intentions, I would probably feel hungry. Thank you, Wig. He has openly stated his intentions to do harm to the server, do harm to people here in this server. Not necessarily physically, sure, but the problem, it comes in that we're not talking about making a blanket statement or making a blanket judgment against a group of people. We are talking about a singular person and their actions. And I feel that's a bit different.
Sure. I hate to interrupt again, but I think it does still seem like you've misunderstood the question. What you're explaining is why you think the issue is a big one, is a significant one, is worth attending to. And everything you've told us while you've been in here is, this is why I think it's bad what he's doing. This is why I think he's a danger. I already understood that before you joined the call. What I'm asking you for is, how is it principally acceptable to do anything about it?
Because he's not human.
Well, thank you for your low IQ intervention, Di, but I was asking Chalk. Like, what you're asking me, you're not necessarily asking me to censor him. It's not clear what you're asking for, but what should we do, and is that acceptable in principle to do?
Right, so...
Even if I agreed with you that he was a significant problem and that he would be a long-term problem for the server, we still got to fix that principle thing. And I think the principle is enough of an argument on its own that we shouldn't do anything, even if I did agree that he was a long-term concern. So, as I said in text earlier, at this point, I'm asking where the line is. Where do we say, okay, this is too much of a problem? That is literally all I am doing at this point. I've already conceded that he didn't actually break a rule, that my argument of him breaking a rule was based on a misunderstanding that I was given I should write that a little differently, because I can understand that misunderstanding. Yeah, the unblockable persecution thing. So my entire question here is literally, okay, where's the line? Where do we say, hey, okay, enough is enough?
Well, as Wes screeched earlier,
question.
the line is child porn, right?
Well, you can be. There are a few other rules besides child porn. Even things that you post that can get you immediately banned. Like if you come in and post a bunch of virus links, that probably would get you immediately banned. There's some other stuff as well, but very, very little that would get you immediately banned. There's some other things that would get you banned after being warned and then doing it multiple times. Posting lolly, for example. There's a lot of stuff like that we do define as the line, but you're asking for a simple answer to a very big question of how far is too far. Well, in what regard? Because we're asking, what would he have done that would actually be against the rules? Like, we don't ban people for things that aren't in the rules. So what rule are we talking about here? What rule would we make to cover what you're describing, Chalk? I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Well, Izulu left, so.
Well, he did give you a thing to respond to.
I can still hear you, and I do want you to respond to what I just said.
Yeah, so I guess my problem here is, as you said, it's a matter of principles. And honestly speaking, like I said, I want to see this server continue. And I honestly think sooner or later that Falco is going to cause an issue. He is going to be the center of an issue, even if he is not the main instigator of the issue itself.
The thing is, this isn't the first time the server went down either. So you have to understand, the concern is not about the server getting taken down. They could take the server down by just going in and seeing how much niggers are posted in here. Like, all it will take is eyes on this place.
Pretty much. Chalk, I'm sorry, but you didn't answer the question.
I think you need to simplify the question, because I don't know. Like, okay, what is the question?
Chalk asked, where is the line? And I asked, there's many lines. Which kind of line? Like, in what would be the rule? What policy should we make to principally describe what Falco is doing to justify him being banned? If you think he should be removed from the server, what rule should we write that he has broken, in your opinion?
I mean, honestly, I'm trying to think how to put this without sounding like a massive asshole, because I don't want to sound like a massive asshole. Because
sorry, honestly, we're all assholes here. Don't worry.
Don't worry about how you sound. Just try and get your point across.
Please, for the love of Christ.
Give me.
I didn't want to have to make this video.
Fucking Wes, you're the worst. Don't get overwhelmed. Try and think out your point.
No, I'm just tired, and I'm still a little. I have to admit, I'm a little bit irritated with the insult earlier, but that's a separate matter.
Which insult?
The uncharitable one.
That doesn't.
Uncharitable
doesn't really narrow it down. If you're going to bring it up, we're going to ask. So if you don't want us to know, then don't bring it up.
You mean the one where I told Di to trim herself and shoot up an autistic school?
So
I didn't even see that one.
I have to go drag. I have to drag the screenshot, but
Chat,
again,
start insulting Chalk at random until one of them is the correct one.
So I'd have to go drag up the screenshot, but Falco
fucking murdered faggot.
Fagogged.
I mean, half, but yes. Okay. I will say I'm not black, so.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm leaving that. Yeah, Doc, maybe you shouldn't be such a faggot.
Okay.
Don't let Wes get under your skin. Out of all of them, don't let it be Wes that gets under your skin. Don't do it. He'll fucking get off to it. He'll get off to it.
I mean, I've made the half gay jokes myself on the server. So
add it to the meme system as fagogged.
Okay.
Mod, what the fuck is that? Hold on. I need to pull Mod.
Here it is again. Here it is again.
Are you using light mode again still?
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting. Fucking shooter, dude.
So
much.
I agree that it was not a rule break.
Turn yourself and shoot up a trans school immediately.
Look, there had to be something wrong with her, okay?
There's There's a lot that this is a massive problem. She doesn't like cheese either, or fucking sauce or gravy on her food. Like, what is this?
Cheese?
Yeah, dude. Wes, you don't understand, man.
Are you a simple child from the 1920s? You don't like
Autism.
cheese?
It's autism.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Female autism manifests differently, and as we see.
I'm gonna have to check that one out later. I'm just gonna call you Da because I don't want to say your. I don't want to say your full username.
Wait,
But
who's
anyways,
Da?
I have.
Grizzle,
Unfortunately,
did you just drop
I,
every single Uzucoin you own to support no cause just to say kill yourselves? That's the equivalent of £162, Grizzle.
Fucking base.
That is a huge bounty of Uzucoins.
Base.
Any house would have given you real life possessions to just mention their house in your message, and you
That was
just
good.
said kill yourselves and nothing else.
It's okay. At this rate, he's earning 250 back by getting into Hall of Fame.
Hi, Grizzle. Love you too,
Jesus
Grizzle.
Christ, dude, and phenomenally based.
So I have to go back to the earlier complaint that I mentioned with Poor Libertine regarding the situation, which is Falco has openly stated that he intends to keep doing this in the future.
Again, Chuck, you've not only am I aware of that from previous conversations, but I think you've already said it today. What I'm asking you is, again, what is the principled reason for us to take action against him? Or do you not have an opinion on that and you're letting that open to me? In which case, you can't really expect me to do much about it if I already disagree that there is one. Like, persuade me that I should do something. Not just that there is a problem, because Falco is a series of problems, but not every problem is deserving of deletion, and many problems are useful. So what should be done, and why? What's the principle? How can we justify doing something about it? What do you want done to Falcoshin?
Well, I think that since Falcoshin abused the Memron bot, Falcoshin should at least lose access to the Memron bot because he has abused it. And he has stated openly that he continues to maliciously abuse it. Pardon me, I have a little bit of a speech impediment sometimes.
I understand. Chalk, this is something we discussed earlier, and the problem with that comes from the colossal grey zone.
Yeah.
If one person insists on not seeing Falco's memes in the meme bot, no matter what they are, then is that abuse? Or is it just when they try and circumvent it to get a message specifically to that person? Okay, well, if it's not mentioned, if that person isn't mentioned in the meme, then is that okay? Well, what if it's still directed at them, but it's sort of implicitly directed at them? Then do we prevent his access to the meme bot? And like, we have to make Zane put in the work to filter people out of the meme bot to do that. That's not something I'm comfortable enforcing as the server owner.
Chuck, you understand that offense is only ever taken and never given? You understand that it's your responsibility to avoid things you don't like in a public square? You understand that it is no one else's responsibility for you to not experience passive things going on in public except for you. That is your problem. That is not Uzalu's problem. That is not Zane's problem. That is not my problem.
May I address what Uzalu said, please? Because Uzalu does bring up a good point. There is that badass gray zone, and I don't think anyone here is going to argue that there is no fat ass gray zone. If you want my honest opinion, I think it should be as specific as possible. For instance, in the case of Falco, he very openly directed that message to Sock and abused the bot to get that message to Sock. And I think that is the problem, is the direct
circumvention
of that block. Pardon me. Thank you very much, Di.
You're welcome.
The problem, so it shouldn't be, oh, hey, we shouldn't see Falco's memes at all. That's not right. Because occasionally Falco may accidentally, at the very least, call a meme that is contextually funny. It may not even be a matter of, oh, hey, there's an implicit, this is for this person. But I think where there is a direct action taken, such as what was taken, that should be addressed and dealt with. Because yes, Wes, you have the offense is only taken, never given. You have the responsibility to avoid things that are happening passively in the public square. But at the same point, if I paid, let's say you had a restraining order against me, right? And I paid somebody $5 to go give you a message after that point, well, I can tell you exactly what the court's going to say. That I violated my restraining order.
You're going to say that that's a violation of the restraining order, because even dude, that's a bad example. The restraining order is a legal document. Restraining order is a very specific set of circumstances that is outside of the bounds of freedom of speech. Mean words on the internet, mean pictures you don't like is not within those bounds.
I think Zane just made a bad bot. Personally, I think that Zane's just made a bad bot.
An example.
I think the bot's
bad. Just mean it as an example. Please don't dig too hard.
So again, you want to talk about examples? You still have not said the difference between people trying to censor others for wrong pronoun usage and what you're advocating for. What is the difference?
I have already said the difference. The difference here is
what you get thrown in jail for.
Individual.
Yeah.
I am pointing at one individual's actions and saying that this shouldn't happen. I am not pointing at a group and saying this group has special privileges.
Dude, the exact circumstances is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the principle. Principally, what is the difference?
There might be...
Principally.
I don't think there is a one-to-one comparison with these two things, though.
They're literally... It is the exact same thing.
The bot's telling me to fuck off. Hold on.
Yeah. So look, if you think that the bot should restrict people's access to it, then therefore, do you think the server should enforce that, or are you simply requesting that Zane do it because it's his bot, not mine?
I think Zane should make it so that isn't possible if he wants to make a good bot that's going to be used in other servers, because this will definitely be exploited in many other places, especially big servers with a lot of autists. This is just not a good thing to have. Yes, Zane. I just don't think it's a good thing to be able to circumvent bans like this. I know Discord limits. I'm not familiar with like what is and isn't possible. So maybe this isn't your fault.
If I required him to do it, then it would be an imposition, frankly. But if I don't require him to do it and he still chooses to, then I can't stop him from doing it. That's my principle. I'm holding off from the free market, as it were, of bot developers to let them do as they choose. And that has been my position from the start. Frankly, people should have been trying to convince Zane, not me.
Okay, so I'm not saying that Zane should have to do anything. Like you've said, it's Zane's bot. Zane should do what Zane wants with it. I would suggest maybe doing something in the future, but I'm not going to tell Zane to do anything because obviously Zane doesn't have to. But my point here is that someone very explicitly took a malicious action and used the bot to circumvent a block directly. That is the problem, is it's a point of direct action here. This wasn't a case of, somebody posted something I didn't like. I'm butthurt about.
We understand that that's what happened. For one thing, we wouldn't be enforcing retroactively against it, and so next time he'd be more careful. But we understand that's what happened. The problem is, should we make a rule about that? I.e., should the server help enforce individual blacklists, especially when we don't even know what their blacklists are? What it amounts to, Chalk, is that anyone in the server can ask us to make anyone else in the server less able to post because that recipient doesn't want to see their messages. So if person A blocks person B and then person B sends a message via someone else to person A, then we have to trust that person A actually does have him blocked, and that trust is the basis on which we censor person B or C. But we shouldn't be censoring person B or C. We should have the person that wants to blacklist those people should just blacklist person C, and then it can't happen again. That's the solution, and that's what you can do to the bot. Like there's no way of envisaging this that makes it make sense as a server principled matter. Even if we had the ability to hide a post from a recipient, then we maybe still wouldn't do it because it's still a bunch of extra work to maintain existing blacklists. But we don't have the ability to do that. We can only block it at the sender's end.
No. Uzulu, I have an idea. Okay. We have an opt-in role, okay? And it's called censor pussy cuck bitch boy, okay? And then anyone who doesn't want to see the meme bot can voluntarily get the role censor loving pussy cock censor bitch boy, whatever the fuck I just said. And then they don't have to see the meme bot anymore. Have an opt-in role that makes fun of them because they're pussy bitches and they can't handle things on the internet. How about that?
We technically can't do that, but they can just block the bot. That was the solution from the beginning. Like, the solutions available to SOC from the beginning were block the bot, fucking ignore the single message that Falco got through the bot to you, or just wait for us to make policy on this matter.
Yeah, so okay. Seeing as how that is not possible, how about Chalk and everyone else give yourself the role of pussy censor cuck loving whatever the insult that was a lot better that I said a minute ago. Give yourself that role and block the meme bot and move the fuck on.
Now, see, Wes.
Jesus Christ!
Can you just cool down for just a second, please?
No, I won't fucking cool down because you are fucking pro censorship and you're pulling this. I don't want to make anyone mad. Fuck yourself, dude. Go fuck off.
I'm trying to not
tired of this shit.
Because again,
you literally sound exactly like people in 2014 and 2015 and 2016 and all the other people were just like, I don't want to censor people. I just want to make a safer community. And now we're dealing with this shit that we're dealing with today, the massive internet-wide censorship. No. Fuck you.
As much, Wes, as I can definitely see where you're coming from, this is a concern that at least a few people on the server have, and if we lay it to rest today in a very equilibrious way, where everyone understands what the position is and no one is too upset with it, then we won't have to argue about it again, and we won't have to have as much friction.
So did you see the message I pinged you, by the way, Uzlu?
Can you be more specific? You pinged me about 10 times today. Thank you, Lieutenant Rock. I'll read that in a minute.
The most recent ping I sent you, the one that Arcane suggested.
Can you just read it for me? Because be specific.
Stop with this, dude. Seriously, Chuck. I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or doing it on accident, but you doing this, I just want to make everyone happy. Bullshit. Dude, make your fucking points. Seriously.
So Arcane brings up a good point. There should be a sustained behavior line here. And maybe, this should be considered for something to be done down the line.
So the sustained behavior line, the idea of it being consistent, which is a requirement for the defamation and impersonation thing, that is something that we would add on if the baseline is already justifiable. I'm echoing through your mic, Chuck. If you could turn that off, that'd be great. If the baseline rule is already justifiable, but we think it would be too much to apply it on the first instance, then we can add the sustained behavior, the pattern of behavior thing as a requirement so it doesn't happen too often. Like, if someone defames someone once in a small way, maybe that's not bad enough, but if they do it more than once, then it becomes a problem. If someone impersonates someone for one message, or if they change their profile picture to be the same as them for like a few minutes and then change it back, that's not really a problem. But if they do it for several days, if they seem to be sincerely trying to persuade people, then we can start to deal with it. But the baseline thing that they're doing, the impersonation or the defamation, still has to be itself, in principle, worthy of making rules about. So that's something we could discuss later, but it's not enough on its own to make it a rule.
I mean, maybe. All I'm saying here is that, so all I've tried to establish is that A, this happened, B, this happened again with Libby, and C, there's a screenshot floating around in help desk of Falco saying that he intends to keep doing this for as long as there's no policy on it. In fact, I'm fairly certain he didn't even describe no policy. He just sort of sat on it.
Chalk, we know what the problem is. You don't need to keep restating it.
Right. So hear me out. Since this was a direct action, we should consider it as a direct action. This isn't about removing anything from a group of people. This is about addressing a direct action about addressing a direct action. That's all I'm trying to say here.
I think there are some people that don't know how to think in terms of principles, and that shouldn't mean that they're not listened to. But it does make it difficult to find the principled solution if you're not giving me principled solutions or principled suggestions. You're giving me pragmatic suggestions, but if it would violate principles to do something about it, then we're not going to do anything about it because the principle is more important. For running a long-term community, the principles are more important.
Chuck, how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
He was asked that earlier.
I would probably feel very hungry. It's a good thing I did have breakfast.
So
Are you sure you have an internal monologue? Like, seriously, dude. Like, how are you not capable of understanding what we're saying here?
I'll be right back.
Hey, bro,
but do continue.
Bro, do you not understand that we're not talking about a specific incident? We're talking about a principle. And that principle is the impetus of things that you see on the internet is on you, not on other people. And if you start to make it on the other person, then that will go down a very slippery slope of this constant snowballing of censorship that will grow and grow and grow until the server is destroyed. Okay?
I think the bot just needs to be fixed.
Di, you do the work then. You do the code, Di.
Yeah.
Well, no, Zane did say he wanted to come in and talk about it earlier. I don't know.
But that doesn't mean he has to do the work. Di, why don't you make your own competing bot? Chalk, why don't you make your own competing bot that does block people? And then everyone else will individually block Zane's bot and use yours because yours has better features, right?
I don't care. I don't care about the bot.
Ultimately, I'm finding it hard not to see this as a free market issue, which is not against the law, to use the analogy, that some people are asking the government to enforce against, to disrupt the free market, when they could just boycott or the equivalent. They could create competition. They could just not use the service, but they don't want to not use the service, but they also want to censor people they don't like. In effect, because we can't block at the recipient end as a server. We can only block at the sender end as a server.
So my entire point about... I'm getting frustrated.
Jimbo, people can make their own bots, but I need to have at least a little bit of trust of the person that makes it, I think, to let them add it to the server, and obviously it has to have very minimal permissions. Whether you qualify or not, well, I suppose we'll have to determine that.
So my problem here is that Memron is a central feature of this server. Everyone uses it. Everyone likes it. Can we agree to that?
Because of that, it should be nationalized and used for a censorship platform?
There is a difference there. Like,
absolutely,
if we would say that Twitter is a private company, but it's de facto the public square, I can understand that. But that's specifically public square. That's a very special case of free speech. This is just a meme bot. It's a bit of fun. It's not part of the public square. It's an extra thing. It is de facto used by everyone, but it's not. It's not an institution of the server. Is it even misused, Di? That's what we're arguing here. I don't think it necessarily is.
I think it is.
Absolutely is not. It absolutely is not.
It's
if you don't want to see things on the meme bot, block the meme bot.
I also think he should have just blocked the meme bot instead of leaving, personally.
Chalk, if you think that the meme bot should be treated like it's nationalized, once again, tell us what the rule should be that it breaks. Tell us why we should censor it.
Tactic there, Chuck.
What is the principled thing that we can draw a line and say, for every case we apply this rule, every case, and if it's above this line, it gets censored or reduced in its availability, and if it's below, it's fine. What is the principled line that we can draw?
So, Chuck, I will give you an example. Uzulu, to answer your question, child porn.
I know, but on this specific matter,
No.
there's lots and lots of lines.
I'm giving an example.
Okay,
I'm giving an example for Chuck. So a way to answer this, Chuck, is a short, concise, accurate answer. So what level should be everything beyond this level should be censored? Child porn. Animated child porn, live action child porn of any kind, children in suggestive poses, still or video form, banned. Child porn. Here you go. Very easy, concise, precise, and accurate answer.
It's not the only thing, though, of course.
But that's that. Thank you. Thank you,
No,
Di.
I'm just because people
thank you,
would.
Di.
Wes, people would say
Hold
it.
on,
They would.
Yeah. Wes is just making an example of how you might answer that question
Yes.
in a principled way, which I'm sure that you understood. But, Chalk, how would you make such a principled line for this issue, for the block circumvention? And then, of course, there's a matter of enforcement, which is a whole different thing.
Honestly, again, I have. Hold on, just a second. Yes, hi, Kitty. How are you doing? Hey there.
I do hear the cat meowing.
He's gone. I know that he said earlier, like, malice or like when it's obvious, and yeah, but there's too much of a grey zone there.
This was a point of direct harassment. I think where there's proof of direct harassment and there's already a record, and naturally the accusing party should probably have to require proof of it.
Get trans surgery and fuck yourself. There's harassment. Should I be banned?
Oh, hold on, Chalk. That wouldn't break any of our rules, though. Like evidence of direct harassment. Why
people have been saying I've been in a wheelchair for 8 years? That's harassment.
Should there be a rule against harassment, Chalk?
Yes, ban everyone.
Yeah, die, troon yourself and fuck yourself with your troon dick.
Is there something more than just harassment that's required, Chalk, in principle?
Yep, honestly, it's a good question, and I don't have a proper answer for it, unfortunately. I'm kind of put on the spot here, and I'm attempting to talk this out with you, and I'm attempting to make my stream on that.
He's doing it.
It's all right. Take your time. Take your time, Chalk.
And again, I am. Sorry. Again, I am. Oh dear. Yes, hi, Kitty. Please stop calling me. I will give you treats here in a minute, okay?
I think you need to just focus for like a second. Don't be reading chat and just try and formulate your thoughts.
What it sounds? Go on, Chuck.
Oh dear God, it's coming out in force tonight. I apologize. So I'm not. I have already conceded that the rule break didn't happen. I'm not necessarily arguing that anything happened here for now, but I think that there probably should be a consideration of direct malicious action. And that is what happened with Tusak. That is what happened to Libby. I don't necessarily believe that every bit of jibing and every bit of, hey, you're a retard, or so on and so forth, should be considered harassment. But I believe that there should probably be some kind of consideration, and there should be at least some kind of onus for proof put on not only the accuser, well, definitely the accused, but the accuser as well. Like, if you're just going to say, well, I have this person blocked, and they're circumventing the block, they should have to prove that.
Chuck, I think I sort of understand where you're coming from, that you see this as a problem. You see that there is a problem, but you maybe need to organize your thoughts a bit more to discuss it fully. But you see there's a problem, but you don't know what the solution is, and you're acting like I should. The problem is that when we discuss it, we realize that no solution is good. And frankly, all the solutions are worse than not doing anything about the problem. But you're still stuck at, I think there's a problem. Okay, we are aware of that. We've looked into potential solutions, and none of them are good. They're all worse than doing nothing. If you can suggest to me a solution that's better than doing nothing, we'll consider it. But please don't just get stuck at there is a problem. Like, fine, if you think there is, we can leave it at that and discuss it later. But please at least acknowledge that we have looked into it and there are no good solutions.
I don't think
it's not even that there isn't a perfect solution, Kisser. All the solutions that I've yet heard are worse than doing nothing.
So Arcane's trying to get your attention again, and I honestly do agree with his sustained behavior.
What was your solution, AC? Remind me.
I believe, Arcane, correct me here if I'm wrong, but you said that there was the pattern of sustained behavior, right? I think that's how that was. Let me scroll back up to it. Where somebody states...
Well, AC, just give me a brief idea of what the solution you're suggesting was. If it was the sustained behavior thing, I already responded to that. Yeah, no, AC, unfortunately, all that does is slightly clarify the gray zone. But what it also requires is even more work from the moderators to keep an eye on when that's happening, which arguably adds back the same amount of gray zone. And it's still not necessarily principled to do it in the first place. It is like, ultimately, that is still the same recommendation that the server enforce the client's personal blacklist, which not only is it technically impossible to do reliably, but it's technically possible to do in the same way, because we can only block at the sender end, not the recipient end. So it can never be a client blacklist on the server side. It can only be a server blacklist on the server side. And so what we're doing is giving the clients carte blanche to enforce a server blacklist on the say-so that they don't want to see certain people's messages, which is just censorship.
May I offer a slightly alternative? So going back to previous situations I've reported to you. I've reported them to you over DM before. I've pinged you on help desk, right? When I PM you or when I pinged you, I've included links to the situations in question, typically, right? I think if this gets enforced at all, it should probably require the user side to say, hey, here's all of the times this happened. This is an ongoing issue because of this message, this message, this message.
Again,
this
Chalk,
message.
you're saying, you're giving me things that would make it easier to validate, but it's still in principle wrong.
Yep.
We haven't crossed that border yet. AC, it may well be obvious sometimes. What about the times where it isn't? Like, again, there is still gray zone to resolve there, and we still have not established that it's in principle the right thing to do. In fact, I think I just made an argument that in principle it's obviously wrong.
Yeah, and also following a fat guy around with a trumpet. That's funny.
Yeah, it is.
Why should that be banned?
Yeah.
You're in a public place?
Shouldn't be, honestly.
Yeah, I think
that would be the best definition of harassment, though.
Fundamentally, one of the...
Right?
Well, again, harassment is not banned. Fundamentally,
no,
one of them...
That's why I'm saying.
Fair enough. But fundamentally, one of the most important distinctions here is that there is a certain set of people who seems to think that clients blocking other clients should be sacrosanct and enforced completely. That blocking someone should mean that you never have to see anything that even comes from them. I disagree. Discord gives you I don't know if that's what you're saying, Choc, but that seems to be what some people believe. Discord gives you the tools, which are not sufficient tools, to block an individual user. But if the user can find a way around those tools, I don't think it's the server's responsibility to stop them from doing so. I think that's your business, who you block and how you feel to your content.
Yeah.
Which they might do. But again,
that's what they'll always do.
If they go to Discord to complain and Discord bans the server because we're doing the right thing, then that's Discord's fault, and we'll make another server.
It just
So
just
I don't
expected
think-
because Discord is likely to do that with all of the
So
people.
as I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm not going to defend what Noda said. Noda had a meltdown. He shouldn't have said what he said.
It was very funny.
Let's just get that out of the way. Noda should not have threatened to go to Discord because it's not a Discord-worthy issue. It's not like there's some secret channel on here where people post blatantly illegal shit.
Well,
No,
There-
Wes, there isn't.
No.
Well, it's all right, Wes.
Wow.
Wes, it's all right, Wes. You banned Di from seeing that channel, so she doesn't know about it.
Oh, okay. I have been banned from certain channels, I will say.
Actually, I don't know how many.
Let's get that out there immediately. This is not an issue that should have even brought Discord support into the matter. Let's just agree on that right now. This is not a Discord support matter, right?
Some people would say it is.
Then block the meme bot and move on.
That's what he should have done.
If you really are this passionate about it, block the meme bot and move. Oh,
If there's no from what Zane is saying, if it's like there's difficulty even implementing some of these things just because of how Discord has been implemented, and that's what he said. I'm going off of kind of what he's insinuating there. Then I'm not sure that there would be much of a fix other than the spoiler tag you were saying on certain users, which I think is probably the best solution. Where if there's been multiple rule violations or they 3-4 times they've done something with the meme bot asked not to, then their stuff gets spoiled for people. I think that's completely reasonable. They're not banned from the bot. They can still use the bot. Zane doesn't have to ban them or do anything extra other than put the spoiler feature in. I think that's probably the best way. I don't see anything else that could be done.
The thing is, whilst that would be the least obtrusive way, and to clarify, chat, a lot of you have said, make a role that can't use the meme bot. Job done. That completely misses the point. Even if we were going to agree that in principle that's a justified thing to do, that's not the way we do it. We can have it so that whenever someone posts a meme in the meme bot, it's spoiler tagged, so you have to click the meme to see it, just like when the user is blocked. That, to me, is a better solution than restricting them from using it in the first place. It would require a little more work from Zane, but honestly, barely any more work than the other solution would. The problems are at least twofold. One is forcing Zane to do that work to enforce the server's rules, which I don't like the idea of because free market. And the second one is he even right in principle for the server to try to enforce those rules? I don't think it is. So those are the two things to get over. Don't worry for now about the implementation of how we'd implement it if we actually did make this a policy, because I don't see a justification for making it a policy in the first place. The server should not censor on the basis of the client's say-so for pretty much anything. And no matter, I don't care if you have it blocked, that's your business. This is a free marketplace of ideas. He can send messages unless he breaks one of our rules, and block circumvention is not one of our rules, and I don't think it should be.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't have a perfect solution here. I can't even say that I have a good solution. I'm not advocating that Zane should have to do anything, because Zane, honestly, Zane isn't part of the issue. Zane shouldn't have to do anything that he doesn't want to do at this point.
But to clarify, Zane is a very decent guy. He's probably willing to. I'm not saying he shouldn't. He can do whatever the hell he wants with his bot. I'm declaring it free marketplace. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. But if your bot breaks the rules, either by spamming or by sending something else, NSFW in non-NSFW channels, that's something you probably should add to your bot, Zane. Then the bot will be punished just like it was a user. And it may be the bot's owner will be, but there'll be some, acknowledgement it's a bot. So that's the free marketplace attitude I have with these bots. You can add whatever you want, and if you don't like one, make a competing bot. If you don't know how to code, sucks for you. This guy does put in the work and made the bot, so either convince him to put in the more work to code it to how you like it, or block it.
Meme bots are a human right. Meme bots are intrinsic to the human experience. Oh, no, excuse me. Meme bots that only show things that I like are a human right.
Unfortunately, while Wes is doing a bit of a caricature, I can't find a flaw in his argument. Like, that is essentially what this amounts to.
That's not what I'm trying to argue, though.
I know it's a meme that
I know
it's
not
done.
what you're
Let's
trying to say, Chalk, but in principle, it's not distinct from what you're asking for.
I don't think a reply was a meme though. Like he just replied to someone using the meme bot.
It wasn't a good meme, but there's no restriction on the bot that says you can only put good memes in there. If Zane wants to add the restriction that says you're only allowed to, no, but okay, Di, if we're using the broad definition of meme, then yes, it was. But if we're using the more narrow one, then but that's up to Zane. Zane can choose what can go in the bot. Zane can choose to start censoring things which he doesn't think are good enough memes from the bot. Let's not even use the word censoring because that implies it's a public square. It's not exactly. It's a privilege. So curation is a better word for it. He can start curating the bot if he wants to. That's more work for him, and it's not work I'm going to mandate that he do. But if you guys want something changed about Zane's bot, ask Zane. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
And Zane is welcome to say no.
Perfect example. We were doing a movie night and we were watching a cheesy, low budget 80s action movie and there were some titties on the screen and people started typing up equals booba and there was some faggoty raccoon voober thing on there. and we added Zane. We added Zane and we were like, what is this faggotry? Remove it immediately. And you know what? He was like, oh, okay. And he did, and we replaced it, and now proper booba is there.
It's his choice. I probably wouldn't have done that, but that's his choice.
But not safe for work stuff and not safe for work channels.
The person who put in the original booba isn't here anymore, so we couldn't
fucking good.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if it was Jack. Sorry.
Oh, Jack is still here, unfortunately.
Wrong Jack.
It was Snuffy, yes.
Not Feet Jack. Not Feet Jack. Horse Jack.
Oh, there's so many Jacks. There's so many fucking Jacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like,
I feel we're at an impasse.
No, I don't think we're at an impasse. I think we're at the end. Assuming that we don't, nothing new comes up, I'm happy to continue discussing this chat, but I think we have finished. Like, I am actually quite looking forward to the prospect of having a free marketplace of bots and not interfering.
It's gonna be fucking hell.
Because a government should not interfere in the market unless someone's broken a law. And I don't see any reason to make the block circumvention a law or rule in this case. I'm seeing many good reasons not to.
That could be interesting. The meme bot user, the meme bot creator could incentivize people for using their meme bots, maybe with Uza coins.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe there is no way to integrate them yet, but we could maybe talk about it, get something set up.
Monopolies aren't good, chat.
In principle,
Get
yes.
rid of Zane's bot.
In principle, yes, Wes. In practice, it's going to be really fucking complicated, but in principle, yes.
No, as long as they give you the money first, I mean, that's all you really need to worry about.
Funnily enough, Zane was just saying he could add like a contribution or a donations link to the meme bot, and then he could get paid to put these features in. That's a great idea. That's everything is right about that.
Yeah, we could literally have battle bots in the Discord.
Sure, why not? Jimbo says, if I were to make a meme bot, would I be able to allow level 1s to use it? It's your bot.
Even white names?
It's your bot, Jimbo.
This is going to be hell.
So,
I wouldn't want anyone white using my bot.
I just want to say thank you for having me on, and I do concede that I don't have a perfect answer or perhaps even a good answer to the questions you posed, but I just want to reiterate that I'm not trying to censor everybody. I'm trying to deal with I was trying to suggest that, hey,
just Falcon.
No. Unfortunately, Chalk, hold on. Chalk, I understand what you're saying. I appreciate it. And I would like you in turn to understand that I am not looking for opportunities to let Falco off the hook. I'm trying to do what is right, regardless who gets punished or doesn't.
Yeah. Yes, because when you censor one person, Chalk, when you censor one person, you censor everyone.
Oh my God! Does that mean I get to censor you as if we do this?
No, you don't get to censor me, and that's the whole fucking point. Because then I'll be able to censor you.
So hold on. I want to hear Chalk's response.
You taking the time to listen to me.
No worries.
No problem.
Chalk, hopefully we can discuss this with a bit less animus in future, because I think we both recognize that each other's hearts are in the right place on this. We just disagree on the specifics, and maybe I had not made myself clear about how much there is involved in making policy. Like, I know a lot of other servers are insufficient and would just make policy on a whim because they don't like something. We don't do things that way here. We do things properly here. So it does take time to get these things right. And sometimes, genuinely, the correct answer is do nothing.
Mm.
I think
I honestly don't know, but I do look forward to talking to you some more. Thank you for having me on. You guys have a great night.
Thank you, Chalk.
See you, man.
Yep. Have a good night.
I'm going to rejoin the other chat because I've been here too long.
I don't think I don't think he was malicious.
No,
I just think he is making the exact same mistakes that literally billions of people have made in the past, going down the slope of censorship and in the end authoritarianism and tyranny. Because you may not think that this is a big deal, but this type of shit is literally how it starts. History has proven it time and time again. No, it's just one person. Oh no, it's just these people. Oh, it's just a group of people. Oh, it's just an ethnicity. It's just one little thing. It's just one little thing, and then that one little thing grows and grows and grows and grows. And next thing you know, you have an authoritarian police state, and you might not think that that's the correct. Like, oh, it's just a Discord server. It's literally how it always happens. It's how it always happens.
The server has survived as long as it has, partly because of the radical free speech principles that we try to maintain. I think the reason we have principles in the first place is because they make something work long term. And when you start, the reason most Discord servers die is because they make too many short term focused decisions, too many short sighted pragmatic decisions, too many decisions that are supposed to be crowd pleasers, rather than taking the time to do it properly.
Hey, Chad, if you enjoyed this retardation, why don't contribute with the little shekels?
In fact, speaking of which,
I think this was quite funny.
There was a contribution, and I'll say something more on that in a second. So Duck says, didn't we already hear testimony earlier that Sock was responding to / engaging with Falco from behind his own block? If this is true, then why would Sock or someone else in the same situation lose some sort of access or privileges for circumventing the block? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
All he did was post in chat shitting on him.
It sounds like that's backwards, because it's Falco that's being accused of circumventing it.
Yeah, so the dude, he basically, apparently from what I heard, was shitting up in chat, just like saying fuck Falco or whatever, and then Falco in response saw the message because he didn't have him blocked, and then used the meme bot to respond to him because the other dude had him blocked and didn't see his messages. I don't think he was actively engaging with him. I think he was just probably in chat, like talking to somebody else in chat, or they were all shitting on him in chat and he just joined in. But I'm not too familiar. I'd have to see the screenshot of the situation.
Dead air.
In comments, not chat. Yeah, it was in comments.
For 2 seconds, and you leave it dead air. How dare you guess?
I was reading chat.
Anyway.
Bro, I was rushed. I just got back to them. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's fine.
Women. We left the fucking.
I was talking. I stopped for 2 seconds to fucking read chat.
Anyway.
30 seconds. We left women alone. It's just dead air.
Okay, so I need to explain something quickly. This stream, the policy stream, was not intended to be everything we did tonight, because I know that this is not the most exhilarating content, although it's got a lot of people here, a lot more than I expected, actually. But it's not the kind of thing where I can say... It's not the kind of thing where I can say, contribute 100 quid and it will add an extra hour, because it's a kind of limited duration discussion. But chat, I would appreciate contributions because this has gone on for a while. My plan was to do this for like half an hour, assuming that that's how long it would last, which is a massive underestimate. Thank you, Ghost of Joseph Stalin. I appreciate that. I'll read that in a second. And then to do another stream after that. But given we've been going for 2.5 hours already, I think I can consider this to be an actual stream. So if you want it to go on longer, we can discuss any other policy about Cabal, then continue with the contributions. We can do something else too, if you like.
If you want to, in the meantime, do you want to watch something special?
Well, let me just read out the contribution first. Ghost of Joseph Stalin says, they see me rolling, they hating, they see me riding dirty, die in wheelchair, probably.
God damn it, guys.
Busek says proving Chalk is a faggot was entertaining. What is it you're recommending that we watch, Wes? I think we should stay relatively on topic. And there's lots of things in chat I wanted to respond to, and I also have a whining dog behind me that's distracting as well. So I've got a lot to manage.
Is he okay?
I don't think he's whining about his general pain. I think he's whining about something else. It may be that he's too hot.
Okay.
Which is not that easy to solve. I do have a fan. I could set that up. But there's lots to consider because we've been going on for a long time. So if we don't have anything else to do, we may do something else, but it depends. There's lots of
nice.
Shut up for a second, Di. Shut up for a second. Let me finish a single thought. There is a lot more. There's a lot more policy stuff that we could discuss, chat, because there's a lot more to think about. I've told you guys that I've been writing what I'm tentatively calling a Cabal charter for a few months, and work on that sort of ground to a halt, because I think I need to reconceptualize it, but it's the kind of thing I might do collaboratively with everyone else, but at the same time, it's something I also need to think about independently, I think. But we can discuss certain aspects of that, and there may be other policies we can discuss. There's also a lot of questions that were asked I may want to respond to. Firstly, Aiden, I am essentially king of Cabal, though I am a democracy advocate. On a small scale like this, where it has a single owner and the server is expected to last less long than the owner does, having a single ruler is fine, but I still do consult democratically quite frequently. Barracuda says, Tism is always entertaining, Orbos is Kang, Censor Die. Thank you for the contribution.
Not again.
I will add that to the total. What is 1988 plus 3972? I definitely need to automate this. That's another thing. All the time that I'm 3991, that's not right. All the time that I'm not spending on the stuff I need to do, like this, is time I'm trying to spend on code, but it's very complicated. 88 plus 59.6. That means you get Boomer Cam, which means that you can see him whining and realize that there's actually nothing wrong with him.
Unfortunately for Boomer, all of his biggest fans are on Discord.
Careful.
Get it? Because he's hot. Because he's hot and he needs a fan. Get it?
Chat, press 1 to ban, Wes. Now my fucking earpiece battery is low. Chat, I have too many things to organize, too many things to manage. We definitely need to ban at least one of these guests from the server entirely to reduce the amount that I have to manage all at the same time. So please vote on who it should be. Why is the Boomer Cam not appearing?
Chat, press 1 if it should be Mach.
There it is.
Poor Mach.
You know they're gonna do it though.
That's what's so funny.
He uses light mode, guys. That's enough.
It is pretty blasphemous that she uses light mode.
Everyone always gets so shocked when I use light mode.
Because you're defective. Mach, you're defective. Okay? Just gotta accept it.
You really are.
I think Di's just made the decision of who to ban for us, where she goes ahead and calls my girlfriend defective.
From a wheelchair.
From a wheelchair as well. Like. Now, chat, I think censoring people on a whim is wrong, but Di is getting banned for that one.
Oh. Can you do that again? Oh.
Yeah, Discord is default dark mode. She had to specifically choose to use light mode.
Yeah, like I said, defective.
That is fucking ridiculous. Like, has she explained herself from that?
No, well, she tried to explain it to me.
I have explained why I use light mode like 8 times, and no one believes me.
Because you're retarded.
What's the reason?
One explanation.
All right, the spotlight's on you. What's the actual reason?
Yeah.
Why do you use it?
You've got almost 50 people here.
I have trouble reading stuff when it's like white text on a dark background. There are certain websites
fucking
like
defective. Fucking defective. I told you. Her eyes are literally wrong.
Bro, I wear glasses with a very strong prescription.
I'm fucking blind in my left eye.
And bruh.
I'm blind in my left eye, so I don't understand.
Just bruh.
Why can't you see the white on black?
I don't know. I have trouble.
I think
reading.
you can. I think you can. I think you just don't like change. And the uncomfortableness you have for the first few days of seeing the change makes you want to go back, and you do.
Mach, have you ever
what?
considered
from
that
white to black to black to white?
the reason why you have difficulty is because you constantly have light mode on?
Yeah, that could do it too.
You're blinding yourself slowly.
Yeah. Fucking flashbang every time you turn off the light and go on fucking Discord. Oh Christ!
You poor creature.
I wonder if your laptop/tablet screen is just that bad that it doesn't display it properly.
No, because I've done this on like every laptop or tablet or phone I have ever owned. I have always preferred light mode. Like there are certain websites, like I forget what it's called, like the fucking fandom.com one that's like the entire website by default is like very dark background, very light text, and I'll be reading stuff on that and I'll have to highlight it with my cursor in order to be able to read it a bit better. Because it's just I can't get through it when it's just like a fucking wall of text in that format.
I just don't understand.
No Lighthouse, not OnlyFans.
So on the matter of this being a stream, I have been asked in DMs by Jimbo, I hope he doesn't mind me saying so, what would be the requirements of people adding, he said image bot, but in general, a bot. And I want to make it clear that I'm doing this free market, this like economic free market essentially of bots. People can make their own stuff, and I won't restrict it any more than I would a person. So there's pretty much no restrictions or limitations aside from the existing rules. Now, what I will say is that your bot will only have the permissions of a basic user when it joins. And if you yourself have access to a certain channel, I may give the bot access to that channel. Like being able to do memes in Conversarium, which is for approved only. A basic user couldn't do that, but if the person that owns the bot can, I probably will give the bot access to that room as well. So in terms of limitations and restrictions, only the obvious stuff. Don't try to ask for admin, because then I will not only disallow the bot, but look very suspiciously upon you. Just ask for the basic stuff that your bot needs. Don't make a bot that does admin features. Just make a bot that does what a user could do, but automatically. And you can then have it do whatever you want. Make a competing meme bot against Zane. And I'm sorry if that if that's antagonizing Zane, but I was always open to this in principle. I'm just explicitly open to it now. So yeah, pretty simple requirements. But bear in mind that you would have to build up your own database of memes to rival Zane's. And if you're going to try to do, like, respond to the equals thing that was originally from my meme bot, the equals text for the meme name, then if you respond right after his bot with a similar thing, I would consider that to be spammy and might do something about your bot so that it can't do that anymore. So you have to get creative. And there's a reason I chose equals, because it's one of the only ones that doesn't require a shift on any keyboard and doesn't already do something special in Discord. So good luck finding a different one. Jimbo, I don't know what you're asking. What do you mean, example? But yeah, it's a competitive. So if you're going to add a bot to the server that has a similar purpose to someone else's, make sure it's better than theirs. Discord didn't take music bots away, Di. I already told you that earlier. YouTube took music bots away by cease and desisting all the YouTube bots.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So we could still have a music bot as long as YouTube doesn't know about it.
Okay.
Uzla?
Yes, Wes.
Do me a favor. I figured you would appreciate that.
God damn it, Wes. You. God fuck's sake, Wes.
I just Revan posted that a bit ago, and I just added Dev with it on Twitter.
I can't stop. Oh my god! I almost made the mistake of reading that out.
Watch, did you just reply to yourself?
Maybe.
March, don't change, man. Never change.
March, we appreciate you.
Oh, Christ.
So yeah, okay. Let's summarize, because again, I'm not sure. We will have to, if we're done discussing this, but we need to keep going to fill out the rest of the stream, which I'm okay doing. Then I'll need to think of something else, and there is much more to talk about. So let me make sure that we've done with this topic first. Block circumvention. At the moment, I don't see a good reason to make server policy on it, and I don't expect I will. So we're not going to. There's not going to be a server policy on it. Now, what that means is that Falco is happy because he gets to troll people in a new way, which other servers may prevent, but we're not going to for the reasons I gave. That is not a good enough reason to make policy against it, but it's something that you guys are welcome to do something about. Just don't ask the law to intercede on your behalf to do it, i.e. make a different meme bot or ask Zane to restrict Falco from the meme bot. If Zane just bans Falco from using the meme bot, I'll be a bit disappointed, but it's his choice, it's his meme bot. So there are many solutions here besides just trying to get me to force Falco out of the meme bot. That's where that's going to be. I'm also, as I say, probably going to remove the unblockable persecution header entirely and maybe change what it means, but that's not what that means either way. How do we even go about adding the bot? Who do we talk to? Well, you have to get the invite link and then send the invite link to me, and then I can click the link and it'll add the bot, or attempt to. I've got to accept it first. I'm going to have to be very, very careful to check the permissions the bot is asking for first, and I will deny your bot access if it asks for any but the basic permissions. Basically, all I'm going to give you is send and receive messages. Maybe some other stuff as well, but only basic stuff. Only the kind of thing a new user could have. No administration bots. No bots that mess with people's usernames or their roles or anything like that. Just send, receive messages. And you can do loads of stuff with that. I already have several features in my old bot, like the role feature that you guys saw yesterday. That's just in there from years ago, but it could be better. So if someone wants to make an individual bot that just does really good dice rolling, you could do that. That would be fine. That only requires receive and send messages. The interaction stuff, the commands and the buttons as well, I'll give you all those permissions too. So yeah, that's what it'd be. So just a bot that can do what a user can do, and you're fine, good to go. If you need a general tutorial on how to make a Discord bot, that's a separate matter. I'm happy to tell you about that, but that's not a policy matter, that's a tech matter. The easiest way to do it, though not necessarily the way I'd recommend, but the easiest way is to use Node.js and Discord.js. Easiest. Not what I do, but probably easiest. Others may recommend using Go, as apparently a good Discord Go library. There is a mix of Rust Discord libraries. The one I'm using right now is harder to work with, but gives you better control, I think. You like Rust, so that's what I'm using. You've got to go to Discord and make the bot on their site, and then you've got all kinds of details. You can use the token and put that on your thing. By the way, you have to run the bot on your hardware. You have to run the code for the bot on your end somewhere. If you run it from home, it'll go offline when your PC's off. However, if you want me to run your bot, that's a different story entirely. There are some people who I trust a lot on the server, who I will let them send me the source code, then I will compile it and run it myself. That's very limited. I've done that for AC with one thing. But otherwise, you have to run the bot on your own hardware. But you can get hardware very cheaply for that. Discord bots are very low resource usage in almost all cases.
Big recommendation to people, by the way, that still have issues with Falco. Just ignore him, guys. Don't engage. Like, he thrives on the fighting in chats and knowing he gets to you and having you constantly going to moderators and seeing it in help desk. Like, Just ignore the dude. Like, even if he's using the meme bot to circumvent whatever, just ignore it. Block the meme bot if you have to, if that's what you need to make the server okay in your eyes. There's nothing we can do at this point.
Even interpreting generously, I don't think there's any advantage to arguing with Falco.
There's none. Just waste of time.
There's a lot of disadvantages as well. So if you find yourself in the position where you feel drawn to argue with him, reevaluate your priorities. Take a step back. Ask, is this a good idea? And answer, no. And then stop doing it. Have some self-control.
Unless you think you can get a rise out of him.
Yeah.
Unless you're good enough.
Still up to you.
You think you're good enough to out-troll the troll, then do it, by all means. But
nobody will stop you.
Duck just posted it perfectly. Just go full Tyler, the Creator. In the end, the only person that gauges what you're offended by is you. So it's your responsibility to deal with it. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean that, does that mean that I should just take out my dick and slap my grandmother in the face repeatedly because freedom of speech and expression? No, you should be considerate of those that you respect and those that you care about, and those people who are around you in real life. But nigga, this is the internet. For God's sakes, people, come on, stop being such pussies.
Is there anyone listening who still thinks this issue is unresolved, who still wants to say something else on this? Because this is an open forum to try and resolve this issue on specifically the block circumvention issue. Is there anyone that thinks that there's any part of it that's unresolved? Are you all satisfied with the conclusion we've come to? Dusak, I suspect I can get the gist of what your one statement is, to be honest. I don't think Poe was listening to this. I suspect he's one of the people that would disagree. But yeah, I haven't seen much.
He is literally not worth even looking at, let alone talking to.
Verdant says he's dissatisfied with this being an entire stream. Like, well, maybe so, but at least we resolved it. We worked through it.
Well, we can do something else. We don't have to end it immediately. It's up to you, though. It's your stream.
Yep, and that's what I mean, is that there may be other things that we can discuss. Yeah, fucking Poe. I think it's too big a topic to start now with the entire Cabal Charter thing. There's a lot to discuss. I need to reevaluate what's in there as well.
Could do some icebergs. Both me and Wes are here.
So surmise what? Sorry.
Could do some iceberg stuff.
Oh, iceberg stuff. We could. Yeah. My original idea was to switch topic from this to something else when we ran out of this, but I expected this to last a lot less time. If we switch to iceberg now, then actually we only have 15 minutes left owed of streaming today. If someone sends in £41, then we'll have an hour and 15 minutes of iceberg stream, which is not really that worth it. So how about this, chat? We've got 15 minutes left with what's currently being contributed. Press 1 to either save those 15 minutes for later and go and do community stuff instead. Perhaps we'll watch Castle or Star Trek or something. And press 2 to try and do some other kind of content to fill those 15 minutes. Or, I don't know what we do, actually. I don't know what 2 would even be. Press 2 if you don't like 1. Go to pit 1 and bully people, says Busak.
A lot of people put in 1.
Verdant wants content. Well, I don't know what we'll do, Verdant, for the 15 minutes we have left. Because 13, actually. 13 is the minimum. I want to see Castle, says Teddy. All right, well then, new vote, chat. Press 3 for Castle. Press 4 for Star Trek.
Oh, no.
I know, Di. I know.
I can't.
Verdant says Fate. Di, that would resolve the dispute.
Oh my God.
We can just watch El Malloy instead.
We do have to watch an anime at some point. It's been a while.
And it is a shame because we've got a lot of people assembled here. Is there any other matter of policy, chat, that you think is worth discussing? We could discuss that for 15 minutes at least. There's as I said, the new Cabal Charter, which I need to organize better before I'm even confident to show it off, I think, has less rules in it than are currently enforced in the policies channel. And maybe I should try and just modify what's already there to fit with it better, but I think it works as a consistent thing. So I do think I will do streams in the future where we discuss and work on the Cabal Charter, but we're not quite, it's not really the time to do it for a few reasons. Let's see, most people do say Star Trek over Castle. Then again, there are two different people who tend to stream each show, whereas does Star Trek, Die does Castle. So, Die, we could just watch Castle and you could miss the Star Trek episodes you want to see.
Don't be that cruel to her. Don't be doing that.
We are on the cusp of some heavy episodes in Star Trek. I'm going to warn you guys now.
I don't want Coatrack to miss it though, because he's been with us.
Oh, I go back and watch I rewatch it with Coatrack whenever he misses any.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can watch a certain episode twice in a row. I don't know if I can emotionally handle that. But we're coming up in about 2-3 episodes to a tough one. It's gonna get quite rainy out, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Castle's funny though. Well, it won't make me sad, but at the same
Castle's
time.
funny, but Star Trek is good.
Your fucking freak out on what Castle is great though.
It's not. I don't like bad things. That's just my thing.
It's not bad.
So it's even worse. It's even worse because it's a bad show with a really good actor in it, and they're just wasting him. That's the worst part.
Okay, actually, here's a point, chat. People often get confused and think that Watchmen are moderators. What can I do to make it clear that they aren't? And don't say put somewhere that is written down what all the roles mean, because people won't fucking read that.
Put not moderator right by the
Is that what we have to do? Is that what we have to do? Is that literally what we have to do? On the Watchmen role, we have to put not a moderator. Is that what we have to do?
Yeah.
Just give them fucking Observer.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but
Observer and then call Observer something else.
They have to take
implies they have authority, whereas Observer is just like they watch.
I think it'd still be the same problem with Observer.
Allah forgive me.
Don't fucking say Allah. It's Jesus in this chat.
Allah forgive me, but I agree with the woman. Just change it to Observer.
God.
But Observer, what it was called before is Monitor, and I don't think that's sufficiently different from Moderate. Like, it has to be something very clearly different, because even Watchmen, which people who watch, that's the same as Observer. People are thinking that means Moderator. I don't think it's the name, really, that's doing it. I think it's the fact that it's a role that sounds official that's above all the others. So just adding not Moderator might be the easiest way to solve it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, just fucking call it butt plug. Something. I don't fucking care. Like, if people really are confused by it, just name it something useless.
I guarantee, just make it not Moderator. It'll be the easiest solution. Give them a role that says not a mod.
I'm seeing some decent suggestions here, but I don't think any of them quite work. It has to be clear enough that retards can understand it, because we do have some of those in here.
Yeah, just call them. Just change it to nigger faggot. I'd be up for that. Change it to nigger faggot.
They'll still struggle.
I mean, I could call it Neighborhood Watch, because I think most people understand roughly what that means. But then people might still misinterpret it. We have to make it something. I think to solve this so that everyone understands, it has to be explicitly not a moderator in the role. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make that exceedingly clear.
Just call it not a mod.
That's what I've been saying.
But that's what everyone else is.
No. Don't call it Watchmen not a mod. Just call it not a moderator or not a mod.
Person with respected, would you like to be not a moderator? But I'm already not a moderator. No, I mean not a moderator. Like, not a mod, but like not a mod. Oh, okay, well that's much clearer, thank you. We still have to be able to refer to it.
Bro,
that'd be fine.
If anyone who is confused by that, then they shouldn't be not a moderator.
Yeah.
One of the many litmus tests for becoming not a moderator.
Honestly, this is funny as fuck.
Yeah.
You should just name it that.
It solves the problem. It solves a lot of problems, actually.
It does.
I feel like
one time I'll agree with you, Wes.
My favorite theater is no theater. Well, I thought you liked theater. No, I like no theater. Yeah, but I thought you liked theater. No, I like no theater. Like, yeah, that's the same thing.
I think being obtuse to solve a clarity problem is not a good answer.
No, this will solve this will be as obvious.
Right. It's no longer unclear to this group. Now it's unclear to everyone.
No, they'll understand.
I unironically 100% support this. Make it not a moderator, because
please,
anyone who
great.
If you ever approach someone and go, "Hey, would you like to become not a moderator?" and they go, "But I'm already not a moderator," you just go, "Okay, never mind. I was confused."
Why don't we call it moderator?
How would you feel if you hadn't been
missed your whole? I was just going to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a problem that solves itself.
Uzulu, if somebody is confused with it, then they shouldn't be not a moderator.
That's true. They're already not a moderator.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about the actual role of not a moderator.
Yeah, but they have already roles that mean they're not a moderator.
Yeah, no, but this is a specific role called not a moderator. If they don't understand that,
okay, but there is no role called not a moderator, though, Di.
Yeah, because you haven't made it yet.
But I'm not going to.
You're falling for it. Die. You already have earned.
No, we both followed each other perfectly fine. We understood what was going on. There was no confusion there.
Yeah, we did.
Uzulu, you know what must be done.
But we weren't confused.
Chat, press 1 if Di should never be a moderator.
Oh God! Don't tell them. Don't tell them what I used to be.
They want you to be not a mod, Di. To be fair, Di is already Watchman. Give her the never a moderator.
And I do watch. I do watch.
Sadly, yes. Di even watches Cesspool occasionally.
No, I do not.
You did
Don't
today.
fucking lie.
You did? You already told us you did. No, you didn't have to go into Cesspool, but you did see the posts that were in there.
I didn't go into Cesspool.
You didn't go into Cesspool, but you did see the posts. Remember, you told us.
What posts?
Posts from someone in particular.
Oh, because of his fucking messages. That I was fucking raped. All right, that's what that
was. All right, chat. Concern. Activate your concern face.
Wow, Di. By the way, clip number 2. Clip number 2. Y'all niggas better be clipping this shit.
They don't understand the context. They don't understand.
All right, that's the end of the Steam chat. Thank you for joining us. No chance to explain yourself there, Di.
Let's just go watch. To
be fair, the Galadriel, evil Queen Galadriel, is very much what Di would be if she was a moderator.
I used to be a mod. I thought I was decent.
Yeah, you did used to be a mod, and then you sided with Eliza and banned a bunch of people for no reason.
No, I didn't do that.
You were misled.
I didn't do that. I didn't ban a single person. I thought it was funny. That's all I thought was that it was funny.
Yep, and then I activate the role advisor for Eliza and everyone else who followed Eliza. So the advisor was just for people that could talk on moderator issues but had no powers.
I'll have you know, I talked people down from doing actual damage. I said, guys, let's just be funny. Okay?
You realize I was in the car on holiday where there was almost no signal while you guys were being funny, fucking up my server on Eliza's say-so. That's why I'm reluctant to give you moderator.
No, you asked me for mod before and I denied it because I don't think I don't need the stress.
I think I was joking.
I don't need the stress. I don't think you were during that time.
I hope so.
No, because again, I've never really cared for moderator. It's just too much effort.
Mm-hmm. Chat, press 1 if Di is gay enough to be moderator.
Guys, no. Listen, even it would. Life
like
would
how
not
Zane was the first person to say yes to that.
The thing is, even if I became a mod, life would not change because I will not do anything. Like
just
I
like
already
the other
do.
mods.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine.
Chat, do we even need moderators at this point?
I don't think.
Like, I've got to the point where we don't need moderators to have kick or ban permissions. They have timeout. And they can also modify roles. But what we could have is just everyone is a watchman. All the people that have power are just watchmen. And their powers activate when there's a raid or something like that, and they can vote to get someone censored if they have to be. Like, it's not a good solution, but theoretically you could reach a point where you just don't need moderators. I don't think we're there yet, but it's possible, I think. Then again, you could argue that all the times when a moderator needs to do something, they don't, then I do. To be fair, though, that might be because I haven't made the policies very clear, which is the whole point of the policy document, which I still haven't finished yet. Yes, it is a bit, Odar, but you got to admit, compared to a lot of other servers, Cabal is kind of utopian.
Can someone take him saying that and just scroll through cesspool underneath?
What's wrong with cesspool? Cesspool is exactly what it's meant to be.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with cesspool. Just don't go in it. I don't.
I do.
Ugh.
Sometimes.
Ugh.
Britwit, can you say that a bit louder? I don't think the literally me enjoyers and me would even disagree with that, to be honest. Oh,
Wes,
Dies.
do you want to join mine and Die's fucking mission to just deflate this man's ego?
Oh, bro, that's not gonna happen. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. You got to call it out when you see it, when it gets really bad. Like, there have been times when literally everyone on a voice chat is going, Uzulu, you are dumb, you are wrong, and your opinion is bad. You need to stop and reflect. And he's just like, no, that just means I'm more right. It's impossible, much. Impossible. It's
now listen.
Impossible.
Now listen. All the times that I have been wrong in the distant past are why I'm never wrong now. Because I actually paid attention to the problem and then became right. About everything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, the problem with Uzulu's ego, Mach, is he is right in the places where it's important. So, like, hardcore political issues, hardcore social issues, things like that.
You can stop there, Wes. That's enough. Anyway, let's end the show right now.
Yeah. It's fine there, but but obviously, you know, when it gets into the nuance of stuff, and when it comes to when really all that matters is opinion. I mean, yeah, yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing is that's why I don't mind it all that much. It's because it's just, you know, it's like it's like 10 Commandments. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I agree with like 6 or 7 of them. That's fine. Leave it up.
Beetlejuice is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. In fact, the worst.
I will make you a Beetlejuice fan by fucking force showing you Beetlejuice the musical.
Do you really think that'll work, chat?
Bro.
The only way that someone could do that much is to like aggressively associate something really good with Beetlejuice. I wonder what could a female do for me that would achieve that effect? Who knows? Total mystery.
Unironically happened to me once with The Big Lebowski. Unironically.
Monster cans. As long as I watch it, you just keep stacking up monster cans next to me.
Hey. Black and green, it's in the color scheme.
I guess. If you squish beetles, does the juice that comes out, is it black and green? That's what the movie's about, right? Welcome back, Di.
Dude, what the fuck?
I banned you because I didn't like you.
No, I don't know what happened. My internet went out, and then when I tried to sign back into Discord, I was signed out, so I had to sign back in, and now my Discord's fucked up.
Discord was having some issues for me today, and I know it had some much bigger issues yesterday, or was it the day before?
Yeah, it's been having issues for like the last few days.
Yeah.
How do I bring the sidebar back up again?
You press the button at the top with the little people.
Thank you very much.
They're called dwarves or midgets. Like little
No, they're not.
Also, there's no people.
Guy, can
I
you
think the
confirm?
correct term is squats.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the one where the leftist got confronted by an actual midget saying that he didn't find being called a midget offensive, and his only response was, "Well, your opinion is valid, and therefore I can't really speak on this matter because your opinion takes precedent," and just had a meltdown. It was very funny.
Just self-deleted.
Yeah, it was so funny.
That's different, Doug. If there is a movie where literal beetles are harvested for their juices, that probably is better than Beetlejuice, no matter how it's made. It could be made on a 2006 Nokia camera phone, and it would be better than Beetlejuice.
Hey, Mach, you like Beetlejuice, right?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review?
I have not.
It was it unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but it was a live show that they would have at Universal Studios Florida and Universal Studios Hollywood. Although it got canceled in Hollywood long before it got canceled in Florida. That had Beetlejuice, and it was like musical, and it was like crazy, and it had like pop culture guest stars and shit like that, and it was on a big stage, and it was just a live action Beetlejuice show with like that featured like Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and like pop culture characters from that year or that past year, and it would play all the time. It was good stuff. A lot
I
of
hope you
fun.
realize what you've done, Wes. There was a drinking game where if you start a Wes story time, they all have to drink.
I mean, I did that a lot as well with my kill trannies, or not even trannies, sorry, just kill pedos. I mixed the two up. They're the same thing. Forgive me.
Oof.
Did you say it was musical, Wes, the graveyard thing?
Yeah, Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review, and it changed all the time. If you were a Florida resident, and you could get like a really cheap year pass to Universal Studios, it changed like every couple of months, and it was always a little bit different. It was great.
Oh no, Wes and Watch are going to bond on
the development
musicals.
of like the mid 2010s Beetlejuice musical, because that was an actual thing that went to Broadway, and it became relevant this week because who the fuck was it? Laura Loomer was reaching second base in the crowd.
That was
Lauren
Boebert.
Yeah, it's weird how that just so happened to happen right where a camera that had thermal vision was centered on them at just the right time, and he just happened to be a Democrat, an active member of the local Democrat Party. It's weird how that happened. Weird.
I'm wondering what part of the musical they were doing it in, because the musical's a bit less, I don't know, a bit less like seedy and sleazy than the film. I can't picture a point in the musical where you'd be doing that.
That doesn't matter. If you're on a date, you're feeling each other. You don't go to the movie theater to watch the movie when you're on a date.
Especially not if it's some shit like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, you go to movie theater, feel each other up.
I got chastised when I went to a movie before because we went and watched Jojo
Hey, Marsh,
Rabbit.
we should go and see a movie sometime.
And after the movie, I went like goose stepping everywhere, and I got yelled at.
All right, chat, I have one more question for you before we end the show. The individual who runs the Dungeon Discord server, who has just posted in the chat there, he only ever goes by one name, and it's a name that no self-respecting man should use to refer to him as. So what should we call him? We're not calling him what he says he should be called, and there's no other name to call him in his profile. So what should we call him? We're not calling him what he says. So Di suggests Degen, and this will be your official name, by the way. Everyone will call you this. So either you choose a better one, or we choose for you.
Yeah,
the German.
I'll fall on for this.
That's possible. Faggot, Degen, D-Man.
Degen's easier because at least starts with D, which is what his name
begins with. It's not as specific,
with.
though. It's not clear it's him.
No, but if you look at his messages, you'll understand it'll fit.
No, it's true, but it's not as specific, because lots of other people are degens as well. We're not calling you father, that's almost as bad.
Yeah, you're not a fucking priest.
Oh yeah, there's also that angle. I would never go for that. So he's German. So let's call him Francois.
Oh God! You should just go with Degen. It'd be better for you.
Franz. No, we'll call him Francine. That'll be confusing. You could make it a callback and call him Daddy-O.
No. I'm not calling him anything to do with that name.
He's German. Call him Vader. I don't know. I think that's a bit too cool.
Yeah, he's not a cool guy. He's a porn addict.
Degen man, how do you respond to the accusation that you're a porn addict?
I mean, nobody posts 1,000 porn images in one day if they're not a porn addict.
I mean, it wasn't quite 1,000. It was close.
I mean, you did go scroll through it.
I mean, I have to keep an eye on what happens to the server, so I have made sure that every single one is just what it seems to be.
I'm sure you have. Oh, it's a collection over many years. You once again proving that you've been in this rut for years, and you need to like, have some self-control.
So I'm not seeing any sort of correlation on what we should call him.
Degen will do, I think. It's simple.
But it's not specific enough.
No, but if people just call him that, it will become his name.
Call him dumb.
Wow, God.
That doesn't help either.
If he's German, Muhammad should fit. Call him Merkel.
Merkel.
That's tempting, actually. I'm sure you do, Merkel, but I think Merkel is the name I like the most for now. Until you come up with a better one, we're calling you Merkel, or I am anyway.
Yeah, he wanted Phantom Pain. Like, what the fucking cringe is this?
No, Diamond Dog is a Metal Gear Solid reference. Phantom Pain is one of the Metal Gear Solid games.
He's German, so he's most likely ethnic, so we could just call him...
What?
How about that?
Where did you put it?
Where did you put it?
No, he's ethnic, so we could just call him... Nothing, because black people don't have fathers. That's the joke. Jesus Christ.
Is he ethnic?
I don't know.
Wes, that was a tough joke to get. You got to give us a bit more clue than that. I get it now. That was a few layers removed.
I'm your resident real racist, and it's like that was difficult. Now,
okay, he just said he's not black, so he definitely is.
I need proof.
No, that's the proof. He just said he's not black. So
I need proof.
Matthias, if you think that was a stretch, you should see some of Merkel's posts in Cesspool.
Oof.
I'm going to have us to see a picture of your hand, sir.
Don't do it. That's just what she gets off to.
Yeah. Secretly, Jack's feet dye his hands.
Well, if they're white hands, who knows?
Merkel, you realize that Overlord is not really any different. You're still naming yourself as just a generic dominating figure. I'm not convinced you are, really. If you have to call yourself that... We're not calling him a
dominating figure.
If you have to call yourself that, then maybe you aren't that. Justify it. Get there naturally.
He's used to people fawning over him in his own server.
Maybe. The true king does not need to tell others that he is the king. That's true. As a king myself, I can confirm.
Oh my God.
Understood, Merkel.
That's the name we're going with, Merkel.
So far, if you can come up with a better one that self-respecting male adults are willing to call him, then I will stop calling him Merkel.
Press 1 if Merkel is fine.
Merkel's good.
So we can see if they agree. Yeah. I think that's his name now. Yeah, it's his own fault. He had the chance to give us a good one, so now he's Merkel.
No, you see, Merkel, you don't get to set your own nickname. You have to have it given to you.
And if you try to set a nickname that's too self-aggrandizing, people will give you a less self-aggrandizing nickname.
See, I've done this joke on other people, what he's doing, so I'm not falling for it.
This is the process. This is how you get the people of Cabal strong and mighty and able to keep the server going for as long as it has. That's a good point. You did this, Sty, with the mommy thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know what the joke is here, and that's why I'm not engaging.
There were a few small differences when you did it. You also had your Di, what people call you, in there as well. And mommy is different from daddy, but still. Not hugely.
And also, I actually had a name that they could call me when they did. It was just funny when I would go into a new server and they would trip over themselves and they'd be like, "Mom, I'm Di."
Merkel is now asking to be referred to as Terry A. Davis, but that name, I'm sorry to say, buddy, is already taken. If he's your Lord, if he's your Lord and Savior, then don't pretend to be him.
You are nowhere near based enough to be called Terry A. Davis.
What spelling would you use for Merkel?
Merkel. She's put. I'm sorry, Merkel, but it's becoming more official by the moment.
Merkel. Merkel.
Good point.
There we go. It's in his notes.
Tyrone A. Deshawn. Blackify Terry A. Davis and use that instead. Daquaniston. Yeah, he's like a Hispanic calling themselves Jesus. Exactly. Well, you are a German, though. So I think in that sense you are a minority. And, since you're a German, you should be even more of a minority. Everyone's Xing to doubt until you post your hand pick.
As they should.
Adolf. He wants to be called Adolf.
Nah, that's too cool for you.
Nah, Merkel.
It's Merkel.
The longer this goes on, Merkel, the more it's going to stick. You have very little time to come up with a better one.
It's too late. I'm sorry.
It may already be too late. I'm not going to rename you, by the way. This is what we're calling you.
You should.
Do it. Chat, press 1 if he should do it. Chat, press 1 if he should change his name.
Yeah, all right, please. Let's.
Chat, press 1. Chat, press 1.
Chat, this is the one time where all of you need to come together and press 1.
Also, who changed the audience channel status to policy forum much skill issue?
Is this because I claimed she had nigger eyes? Is this what?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, well, I may change his name. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm the only one that has that power. I use it very sparingly.
This would be the perfect time for it.
Bro, you changed Jack's name. The least you could do is change this one.
Yeah, but I don't respect Jack. Never mind. Let's.
You shouldn't respect this fucking faggot either.
There's some nuance to it I won't describe for reasons. Partly because I don't. Either way. I'm not going to for now. I may do
changed.
The circumstance is different.
The old you would have done it without question.
Well, the old me had less lessons learned.
No, the old you was fun.
Yes, Cryptid, I did give it to Clover for missing a letter in the N-word tower. I think she typed in the wrong letter, so she was Clovey.
Well, that deserves death.
No, she typed in an E instead of an R, so it was Clovey for a while. And then she finally got the R, so she became Clover again. I have a sense that this situation is different, so I'm not going to do it right now. I think that was like spur of the moment. It was a funny meme because I said it. In this case, we've all imposed it on him, and I want to give him a chance to figure that out.
He imposed it on himself by having that name.
No, he imposed the imposition. Or he welcomed the imposition, invited the imposition.
I'm not calling him that name.
No, I think it's
Merkel.
Now that everyone's ganged up, I would feel wrong joining the mob, essentially. I think that's what it is.
No, you stomped them on the ground. What are you talking about?
No, I would sooner let that be natural.
Yeah, naturally stomp them into the ground.
Uzulu, you for some reason are trending on my front page. That's what it is.
Good. Okay. Chat, we'll end here, I think. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed policy-wise at the moment from chat? Give me some input, but I think we're good to go.
I think that there should be a new rule, and that we should institute as a rule that new people should type nigger faggot before they get full access.
It's how we find out if they're a Fed or not.
Because you know how when you go to like some soy-based faggots server, and it's like you need to click I agree with the rules before you can enter and put in your pronouns. It's like that's just like, oh, okay, thank you for telling me up front I don't want to be in your server. I think there should be a thing where it's like type nigger faggot to enter, and then they have to type it in, and then it gets recorded and then put in its own chat.
I understand where you're coming from on that, Wes. I completely disagree because it's a open free marketplace of ideas, and I don't want being willing to say that to be a requirement to be in the server. Being a requirement for us to trust someone to get up the role hierarchy, sure. But never to just be in the server.
For respected, you have to say nigger faggot.
I would maybe even be willing to say that for respected you have to, but we would only socially enforce it.
No, no one is getting respected if they haven't said nigger faggot.
Probably true anyway. Probably true anyway. Yeah.
I say
we're not just talking about. We're not just talking about in text, chat. We're talking about in voice. You have to say nigger faggot in voice.
Yeah. You like typing it in. You could get away with typing it in to get respected or to get recognized, but in order to get respected, you got to say nigger faggot.
It's not even that hard, chat.
You guys are welcome to socially enforce those requirements, but they'll never be official.
It's like it was like back in the 2000s. Penn Jillette had an idea for the TSA where you didn't have to go through all these ridiculous lines and getting strip search and shit. You just you just got to eat a piece of bacon. You want to get on a plane?
That's great.
I love how Merkel is still giving himself self-aggrandizing names as suggestions. Bro, you're missing the point.
Yeah, he's like, cringe.
If you had done that day one before I pointed this out, then it would have been fine. You probably could have got away with being Bismarck instead. But now that it's got to this point, no, the best you can do now is think of a different self-defeating or self-demeaning name. But yeah, you have very little time.
Might as well change your website to Merkel Zone.
No, nobody likes a fucking someone who bigs up themselves, right, Isla?
Oof.
Well, I missed that. What did you say? I was reading something.
Oof. No, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, dude.
Don't worry about it. It's a big oof right there.
I mean, if we're talking, if what you were saying was something about self-aggrandizing and ego, bear in mind, I've earned it.
God damn it, Mach.
See what we have to deal with? You're not even in the channel.
Yours appeared second.
Oh god.
I did.
Oh.
There's two. I see that there's 2 messages in that channel, and I refuse to look at them.
I'm only in
you just right click
screen.
You just do what I always do. Right click, mark as read, move. Oh my God, Mach! Jesus Christ! Warn us! Warn us before you do that.
Flashbanged.
Everyone else can be flashbanged.
I've been flashbanged. I can't see. Fucking Christ, dude.
Also, Meat Bun, you have a job to do. There are 2 things that you need to go back and record. And get a screen, get a at least a voice capture of Uzulu, one with Uzulu and one with Die. Well, you need to go back and get them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I'm worried.
He's DMing you right now, Meat Bun.
I'm worried.
We already had a meme for Flashbang with Liars.
Need another one.
Man. Why do you like this much?
Feel Wizard, I do have the slightest modicum of humility. That's why I'm so great. Because I use my humility to fix all my flaws, and now I've just got the good bits left. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the stream there, chat. On that stunning display of my glorious humility.
Non-ego, yeah,
Yep. And honestly, the decision earlier was majority Star Trek. But we will go into pit 1 in a few minutes. We'll decide there, and we'll determine. Di, if you had to choose, you yourself alone, which one would you choose?
I don't know. I mean, I think
it's the season finale, Di. The season finale of Castle.
It is, but also there's supposed to be some good episodes of Star Trek coming up. Fuck.
Man. Oh my god, guys! I'm sure there's going to be some mystery box bullshit that's gonna rope you midwits in and go, oh my god! Oh,
at this point, Di, I think you have to choose Castle just to spite Wes being so spiteful.
That it's gonna be completely reset to normal.
Wes, why are you pushing me away?
No.
Why are you pushing me away, Wes?
Bro, do you know what else
is now to convert Wes to not hating the show. Wes, I hate to tell you this, Castle is my favorite show.
I'm sorry. Do you know what else I did, Uzlu? Do you know what else? Uzlu died, and anyone else? Do you know what else I did in the 4.5 hour meeting? I fucking redid my RimWorld mod list, so I'm good. I got RimWorld Merkel?
Put Merkel in the RimWorld.
I got RimWorld working again, so I'm good.
So very soon, chat, the most popular streamer in Cabal, Wes, is going to start RimWorld playthroughs in Cabal, and you yourself could be a player in his games and be locked in a cave if you let Harry in.
That's right. I forgot about that. No, I could do another Cabal RimWorld stream.
That, to be honest, isn't in the lore yet. That should be in there.
What about letting Harry in? What?
Chase slipped in the request to give Harry recognized.
Oh,
and
that's
for
right.
that, you punished him by locking him in a cave in RimWorld.
That's right. I locked him in a cave. I forgot about that. Oh, that was good.
that is now equals March.
Mm-hmm.
You did it again, March.
Oh my god. Mosh.
He's done it again.
Mosh.
Bro. I'm gonna make Chase and just throw him in for the beginning.
Stop me! Fucking hell, dude. This day is just getting worse and worse now.
Well, it's about to get a lot worse. Because you're going to have to decide between Castle and Star Trek.
Why do I have to decide? Didn't the majority
because you're the one feeling the most stressed about deciding, so you have to decide.
No. I'll watch it for. I'll make the decision for you. Go watch Castle.
Oh,
Wes, don't be a woman. Wes, don't be a woman. Don't do this to me. Don't tell me everything's okay while turning your back.
Hey, Di. Guess what?
What?
Make a decision.
I need.
Really, I was also.
March, now's your chance to send it back to her.
I was also researching. You ever heard of Star Wars Galaxies?
Think so?
Probably from you.
It's an old MMORPG from like the 2000s. It was like the first MMORPG I ever played. Fucking loved the shit out of it. And apparently there's some really good like fan-made servers now. And I got one working. I'm probably gonna futz around with that for a while, or I'll get on Grand Theft Auto. I'll do something. Yeah, Duck, dude. There's a really good server that I've been playing around.
I'm gonna add Korak, and if he's not around, that will probably be my decision.
All right, everyone ping Korak.
I'm glad that Di is now the victim of the can't make a decision meme instead of me. It's nice.
I made you the victim in that though, which is funny.
I love how if Korak is there, he's going to come in and say, what the fuck is going on? If Korak isn't there, he's going to wake up and say, what the fuck was going on?
Yeah.
He's now got like 10 pings.
Should we hop down and chat?
We can end the stream. Yeah, I just want to make sure there's nothing else to talk about.
Okay,
but I think there isn't. I think we've figured that out. Blame Die. Yep. Thank you, Moch. That's correct. All right. Moch. Die. Merkel has sent you a video clip. Are you going to click to watch it?
It is blank, and I've learned not to. After seeing his history, nah, dude, fuck that.
Given the preponderance of evidence of the other videos he's posted in Cabal, I imagine you wouldn't be interested in watching it because you don't like pictures and videos of large breasts, do you? Anyway. Actually, Merkel, if you were to start DMing Die just pictures of large breasts, I think she'd appreciate that.
God.
Also wheelchairs. All right.
And potatoes.
And sure, why not?
I do like tits. But I think everyone
Meat bun.
does.
Meat bun, please. 3.
Make sure you include the silence after she said it.
You guys are the worst. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. No, include the meat bun.
I was trying to go to outro in that pause to make it like the last thing you hear and then outro music, but I just missed the button before someone spoke.
That would have been funny.
That would have been so funny. Hey, Di, tell us again what you like.
I like tits.
Niggers.